Hello everyone, and welcome to a unexpected continuation of what I am now calling the resurfacing of habit. So, just a tiny little recap of what happened at the end. Basically, the two heroes of this little side story, got trapped in a hut, although they didn't try to escape, so perhaps they may have had an escape, but didn't attempt to escape. And they ended up in a strange location that wasn't a root cellar, which is where they were. And they had to face their fears. And after facing their fears, they encountered a being of some sort. And they aided this being in escaping. Another being also entered the space and attempted to free him from the space, but there was a misunderstanding, I guess, at some point, and they were trying to kill each other. And after that, they exited the clearing location, and Habit and his newfound friend, although they appear to have had some history, vanished into thin air. And we're going to start at you guys going back to the village. Even though I sort of wrapped that up a little bit quickly last time, since this is kind of unplanned, I'm just going to start up there. So you guys head back to the village. You manage, I'll say that you don't have to do any survival checks or anything to navigate back. Yeah, I'll say that you guys managed to get back, no problem. No enemies or anything encountered you along the way. And you're back at the village. So, one of you is from around here. One of you is a giant praying mantis, basically. That's from around here. Most of the villagers wouldn't be comfortable with living directly in the village, so you have like a little space that you live in outside the village, I would say. And one of you is from outside the village and is attempting to get paid for the information that he got from this excursion. So you guys are together at this point. I'll let you guys decide what you want to do now that you're back at the village.
So who hired us?
The one who hired you specifically, you're getting paid a little. Both of you are getting paid a little bit. If you manage to come back alive from this location, getting paid a little bit by the village chieftain. Not very much, like 50 gold.
Okay.
They're not a rich town or anything, but that's pretty much all they have in their coffers at the moment. So, they'll give you both 50 gold. But you specifically, Cryo, are getting paid by, these chroniclers, these guys who basically, they try to gather as much information on magical phenomena as possible, so that way if something new appears, they might have some inkling of what to do if something else dangerous appears. So you're getting paid by them. I'll call them the chroniclers for now. So
yeah,
they are from out of town, so they aren't in the town specifically, but you can try to contact a bard that would be in the village. They can send off the information for you, so that way you don't have to walk all the way to wherever they are.
Could you repeat their name again?
The chroniclers?
Chroniclers. Okay.
Yes, they chronicle magical phenomena.
So yeah, I'll tell Mantis that we also have a reward from the Chronicles, so we should get in touch with them. Do you want to, or is there anything we need in town before we head out?
Yeah, technically your character lives here, so...
Nothing that my character can use. Creo, do you have a climber's kit?
Climber's kit? No.
Yeah.
Why would I need to climb?
Why not? You always have a climber's kit. Nothing I can think of that I could use.
We have gotten our rest and our spells back, right?
I'll say that you guys got back to the village all right. You were at full health when you left. You were at full everything because you were in the fountain for a little while before you guys got teleported back. So you guys were at full when you were arrived. So you have everything.
Yeah, when you ask for a climber's kit, you start floating.
Do we still have the water skins filled with the water from the pool?
If you took some, yes.
We both did.
All right. I'll say that that's in your guys' inventory. And you do know that the magic seems to diminish as you guys get further away. And something else that I forgot to throw in since I ended it kind of quickly last time. You do notice, Cryo, that in your backpack you have the book that Habit had in his possession. Because he didn't take it from you and he doesn't really seem to need it anymore. So he didn't ask for it back. So you have that in your possession. If
we're in town, I would take a look at it more deeply than just skim over.
Alright, well, it goes into chronicling. He apparently killed an entire village at one point near the beginning of the book. When he first came to consciousness, he didn't really know what was happening with his powers and what he was doing, so he just lashed out at the people who were trying to help him. He realized that they were trying to help him, but he just enjoyed it too much, the killing. So he continued lashing out at them, even after he realized that he probably, a normal person probably wouldn't have continued lashing out, but he continued anyway. Then he goes on a myriad of adventures, finding people who are high in, as he calls them, on a high horse within society, and he picks them out and targets them for basically massacring their entire family, and then he goes into torturing them, torturing their family or anybody they care about, and then once he's bored with them, he just slices them to death or whatever, what have you. So he goes on, he describes about a couple centuries worth, and he even gets into some scuffles with some guards, and he just manages to either evade them or kill them off, the entire platoons or whatever was sent after him. And then eventually some mages found out that this was happening and decided, well, we don't want this to continue to happen. So they decided to come up with a plan to trap him. And after he doesn't really know what he describes that he saw like an enchanted circle of some sort, and then he was placed inside the body of his consciousness was placed inside the body of the small squirrel type creature, and then he was sent away, and he doesn't really know what happened. And he attempted to chronicle all this because he knew that his mind wasn't keeping the information very well in this new form. So he attempted to chronicle the entire thing, but he didn't really know what was happening to him in the regard of being trapped. But everything else he seemed to have written down in excruciating detail, like down to like this person when they were like the smell of their burning flesh and those sorts of things. He has excruciating detail. So yeah, it's not a pleasant read, but it gives you a little bit of information on his history. He was all over the world, and then when the mages finally got him, they were within this vicinity, relatively. So it must have been around here somewhere that they caught him, eventually.
Yeah. So I say to the mantis, I think we might have just made things worse around there.
Are you going to tell me the information in the book?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay. Okay. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Maybe he's changed.
Yeah.
He seemed nice enough.
Mm-hmm.
You have a feeling that the reason he didn't kill you outright is because you somehow managed to help him somehow. You're not entirely sure how you helped him, because you just faced your fears and then you ended up in a room with him and then some other entities seem to have freed him. And you're not sure how that managed to happen. You're not sure even where you were. So you think that he may perceive that you helped him somehow, and that's why he let you go, but you're completely unsure of why he would, based on what you're reading, why he would allow loose ends like this, people who know about him and what he is, to just go free.
So, do we track him down and try to trap him again?
I think we should tell the Chronicles about it.
Okay.
Alright.
I mean, I don't know about you, but that creature, I threw everything I had at him, and he was still standing.
Yeah. All right. To the chroniclers.
Alright. So as you begin to walk through the village, because the only bard nearby is inside the village, he's basically like a... You can get... He basically magically can create newspapers for you from certain places. He can magically give you reports of like bounties within the area, that sort of thing, by accessing the magical ley lines. And as you're walking through the village, the village chieftain is just sort of walking around. He's sort of having to deal with all the influx of people that are here to try to, in case you guys fail, they're waiting like a couple days to see if you guys fail, and then they're going to try to send more people in. But they decided to send just a few people first to see what would happen. To see if any of the influx of people decides to die down, because the few people who were sent didn't come back or what have you. But you guys are coming back, so there's a few people who are noticing you coming back, and the village chieftain approaches you and he says, and he's sort of like an older human with a long beard, white beard, stereotypical elder of a village sort of look on him. And he just sort of approaches. He's holding a gnarled cane in his hand, and he's just sort of walking forward towards you guys, and he says, "Oh, so you return."
Yes.
We found whoever was killing all the people, and they are dead, unfortunately.
Very sad to hear, but not unexpected. So, is it safe down there? Do you know?
The killer no longer controls his own body. He's been taken over by a minor deity.
Interesting turn of events, I would say. I hope you don't mind me stepping on your guys' toes, but I'll send a few of these bounty hunters down to see if what you say is true.
So yeah, I'll kind of explain to them that where the bodies are, and he has a basement full of body parts. There's a small cave that doesn't lead any. There's a small cave that leads into a fire elemental, and then a bunch of dogs.
All right, so you basically explain everything that you encountered.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll say that you do that to the. There's a couple of guys. There's like a dragonborn, brass dragonborn. He's pretty buff looking, and he's got like a shield and a sword. He's got holy symbols of Senna on him, so he's probably a paladin of some sort or a cleric. And there's a couple other guys behind him. A dwarf. He looks like he's wearing a Viking helmet and sort of barbarian clothing, like just regular traveler's clothes. And he has like 2 battle axes on his back. And then there's a couple other guys. A woman who seems to have a rapier and a lute on her back, and she's human. And they seem to be listening intently onto what you're saying, and then they mosey on off after you finish your story to confirm what you've said, to see if they find anything like that.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention there's a bunch of ghosts in the area, but they are friendly. Don't worry about them.
They seem like they know what a ghost is, so they're pretty knowledgeable in what monsters are. So they seem to be ready for whatever it is that you have told them that they're ready to see whatever it is that's there. They don't seem too intimidated, so they wander off. And the village elder is standing in front of you still. So I understand you have to go see the chroniclers. The bard is that way, and he sort of motions towards where you, Manny knows where the bard is. So he sort of motions in that direction, and he says, you will receive payment once the others return.
Fine.
Fair enough.
And he just sort of, old man just goes, and he just sort of wanders off. Back on his business, whatever it was he was doing before. So you guys head over to the bard.
Mhm.
This guy, let's see. He is very strange looking. He looks like he's, let's see. He's got blue skin, and he has like fish-like, he's kind of humanoid, and he has pointed ears. And he has fish-like webbing between his fingers and toes.
Mhm.
And you guys know what species this is. This is a sea elf. They can breathe underwater and that sort of thing. But it seems like he's taken a minor job here to be a bard in the area. He's wearing stereotypical bard's clothing. Just a set of fancy clothes, so that way he doesn't look too mundane. So that way people know that he's a bard, in case there's like a traveler coming through. This guy's a bard, so they can approach him for news if they need it. So you approach him. He seems to be just finishing. He's sort of got his suit in in this magical wisp that you can see that's bending down towards his finger, and his other hand is just crazily writing some stuff down on a piece of paper for somebody, and it's sort of floating in front of him, the piece of paper, and he's just sort of furiously writing, sort of like a printer would be writing something. So it looks kind of foreign to anybody who doesn't completely understand how bards work. And he just sort of, after he's done, he takes his finger out of the magical wisp and he grabs the paper in the air and hands it to him, and he says, "There's your newspaper." And the guy just walks away with his newspaper. And you guys are next in line. And he says, "Oh, so what service do you need from me?"
Oh, we need to contact the Chronicle.
So you want to send a message to the chroniclers, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, anything specific? Oh wait, you are the guy that was sent to find any information on the weird happenings in the forest?
I have their information.
Okay, so you know how bards work, right? He's just trying to see if you understand how his what you need to do when you approach him.
You send messages. I send message on them saying that.
Okay. He says, either you recite to me exactly what you want me to send, or you can give me a page, and I can magically send the page through the ley lines.
So a fax.
Basically.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll write down on a piece of paper. Me and my friend have your information, and where should we meet?
You can either write a novel based on what happened, and he can send that through, or you can just say, send a representative, and you'll explain it to them, or you can do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter to those bard, but you can do whatever you want.
I'll ask him to send a representative then.
Okay. So are you going to write that like basically a short letter down, or are you going to recite it to him?
Yeah, like a short letter.
Okay. So I'll say that you write a short letter down saying, we've potentially resolved the issue, but we do have potentially important information for you, that sort of thing. And to send a representative because it's very important. It's not just something that you can write down in a letter, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you give him the letter, and he says, "All right." And he folds it up, and he puts his finger into the ley line, and the page magically rises from his hand, and it goes into the magical wisp, and it disappears. And then he comes back to consciousness with you, and he says, "Okay, the message is sent."
Now we wait, right?
I believe so.
If I know anything about the collective, which I know a little bit, being a bard, and he sort of chuckles to himself, they'll probably send somebody around tonight. There is a teleportation circle nearby, so they'll have to walk from there to get here, so...
It can't be that far.
Yeah, it's not too far from here. And he sort of motions towards somewhere in the woods. It's sort of a middle point between a few villages around here, so he'll have to walk from there.
Okay.
All right.
Too late.
So, anything else you need? Any news or?
Not really.
and he seems friendly enough. He's one of the people in the village that Manny can actually stand being around because he's willing to greet anybody, no matter who they are, that sort of thing. So he's a friendly guy. If you want to say anything to him, you can, but otherwise he'll just be ready to take the next person who seems like they want some information.
No, I got nothing.
All right. So he says, "Please stand aside as there is a queue forming behind you." So you guys move out of the way. Is there anything in particular you want to do before the guy arrives?
Not really.
All right. We'll fast forward a little bit. I'll just give you a couple seconds just in case you are thinking of something that you might want to do. You guys can go back to Manny's hovel if you wish, which is just a the villagers have some of the nicer villagers have graciously helped Manny build a little hut. But normally, the manti people tend to just sort of burrow a little bit in the ground, or live in trees. But in the desert, they tend to burrow into the ground a little bit. So you've dug out a little space that you like to sort of lay down in and that sort of thing. But there is an exterior hut portion that they graciously built for you because you can't build anything with your appendages. So it's not very big. It's about 10 feet by 10 foot hovel. They just made it so that way you had a place to lay down, but you sort of hollowed out a little area below that's a little more livable, that can fit quite a few people in there. You even have a little area where you can put a table, but you don't have one because you can't. You don't have any use for a table, that sort of thing. But there is a little area where there's food and that sort of thing, just sort of hanging up on the side that you sort of use your claw to like hang things on hooks, that sort of thing. So you guys could have a little meal if you wish while you're waiting.
What do manti eat?
They can eat pretty much
Tiny people.
any normal. But if it's anything like too hard that normal creatures would need to crunch up, you would need to have you would need to crush it into a paste almost in order to eat it. So your claws, you fit sideways basically, and you just slam your claw down to crush it into a paste, and you can eat it. So there's normal food there. There's like meat if your character would be interested in meat, and fruits and vegetables from the nearby gardens. So any normal person could potentially cook it on a little fire, and you could Cryo could easily set up a fire, or what if he doesn't want to do that since he doesn't.
I don't want to set up a fire.
Yeah.
I'll eat all my food cold.
All right. So you can just eat the raw vegetables and fruit, that sort of thing that would be harvested from nearby.
He even eats his meat cold.
All right. Well, that's up to him. Hopefully he doesn't get any diseases from it. I'll say that this meat is sufficiently prepared so that way there's no diseases in it. So, about you guys left in the evening, and when you guys woke back up in the cellar and came back out and Habit was there, it was morning again, so you're not exactly sure how many days went by, but it obviously wasn't more than 3, which is as long as they were willing to wait for you to return. So, it's between 1 and 3 days, about. somewhere around there, that you've been gone, and about mid-afternoon, late afternoon, early evening possibly, somebody, a little child, comes by the hut, about a 12-year-old kid, and he's human, and he just has a little beret on his head, and he has a bag full of notes in his bag, and he says, "Oi, message for you," and he's knocking at the door.
And he's British.
Apparently. So he's at the front of the hut, just sort of saying "Oi, message."
What's the message?
But...
And since
first I open the door.
Yeah, your door doesn't have any handles on it or anything. You just sort of push it open, because your hands, you can't have knobs or anything. So you just sort of push it open, and he sees you appear, and he sort of jumps back a little bit. You recognize this kid. He's a guy who gives messages to people in the village, and he sort of jumps back a little bit, and then he sees somebody who actually has hands, and he says, "Letter." So he offers it to Cryo to take, because normally when he gives you a paper message, he has to sit there and hold it so that way you can read it, and then he puts it on the table or puts it in your hovel for you. But since somebody has hands that's in your hut with you, he's willing to give it to him.
I'll take it, and I'll start reading it.
And he tips his hat to you, and he walks away.
I don't have a hat.
Well, he has a hat, so he tips it to you graciously and just walks away. Unless if you want to give him a tip of a gold or something.
A gold? He's reading a letter?
Whatever you want. If you want to give him a tip, you can, but he's just going to walk away otherwise.
I'm not giving him a tip.
Okay, he just walks away. So, the letter says that the bounty hunters have returned, and they have unfortunate news for you.
Oh. So yeah, I'll head back there. I say to you, the bounty hunters returned, but I think they got into some trouble.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go talk to them.
So you head into the middle of the village, and you're about 100 feet away from where they said to meet, which you guys already know where you're supposed to meet. And you can hear loud shouting from a dragonborn saying, "We didn't even have to use our blades! What is this trickery?" And the village elder is like, well, they just told me what they saw. I can't tell you why you wouldn't have encountered what they encountered. And you guys are walking towards them as this is happening.
So what seems to be the problem?
The Dragonborn glances over to you and he says, "Almost nothing of what you said was there.
I guess they left. I said we took care of the killer."
He has a very disturbed look on his face.
Well, what did you guys see?
We saw the hut. And we saw the bodies. But that was it.
Oh.
We didn't even see the ghosts you mentioned.
Because they're ghosts. Ghosts don't usually stay in one spot for very long.
I guess the ghosts didn't like you guys either. They didn't want to talk to me.
You can see that there's a little bit of heat emanating from his nose, his nostrils, as you can tell that he's not very pleased with this answer. And he says, "I've fought many a ghost in my time, and he sort of motions to his pendant. I am a paladin after all, so I am supposed to fight the undead, and I saw nothing that indicated the undead.
Ghosts are dead. They're not undead.
He just glares at you with your semantics argument.
Some ghosts are nice. You should try talk to them first.
Well, there was no indication that they were there, so...
Oh. Well, then I guess there's no problem. So what seems to be the problem?
Well, we couldn't confirm what you said was there, so...
Oh.
And then the elder says, so, we can't pay you.
Oh. Weren't we gonna get paid for just returning? Because, I mean, we have been there.
He sort of looks at you sideways. I'm gonna need you to make a persuasion check.
Persuasion?
Yes.
It's 12.
Alright, well, he sort of glances sideways at you and he says, well, we aren't the richest of villages, and the letter of our contract was that you would be paid if we could confirm your story.
Oh. Well, it's not my fault.
You should have read that before you agreed to it.
Oh, well, it's not our fault that the ghost doesn't like paladins.
The Dragonborn just raises his eyebrow at you. He says, well, it does seem safe. So he seems to be arguing a little bit on your behalf at the moment. And he says, well, they said there were stuff still there, but it's gone now. Maybe they did something good. But I couldn't see anything that they mentioned. We went into the root cellar. We didn't see anything there. Dead end tunnel. But,
oh, I asked the old man, have the people from the what was it? Compendium? No. That's...
Are you attempting to tell him about habit and...
No. The people from the book club, the library or the wizard people.
Yeah, the chroniclers.
The chroniclers.
And he seems like he's not pleased, and he says, that was the bounty I was here for, and you took that out from under my nose.
I don't believe he was there when I did it, so if you weren't there, your nose couldn't have been either.
And he says, whatever. And he just sort of storms off, and his group of, his band of merry men, I guess, just follow behind him. So it seems like his trip was wasted. Although he before he leaves, he was saying that he didn't find any trace of this legend that you supposedly found, and he found no trace of this large man that you say Habit is now inhabiting.
They found absolutely no trace, like no.
They found the hut and all the stuff that was in the hut, but they didn't find like
But that's it.
Like the trail of where he might have went.
Because he's a demigod.
Well, they tried to find him or locate any trace of him, and or where he went, and they didn't find anything.
He's a demigod. They have powers.
Well, maybe they have some sort of magical detection objects that you don't know about, but they said that they didn't find anything.
They're fired.
So, let's see. Okay. So the elder is just sort of standing there, and he says, "I hesitate to give you the rest of our coffers. They said that the area was safe, and that was all that I really cared about. So I'll forego the contract and give you the payment anyway." And he sort of just starts waddling off, almost as if he's expecting you to follow him.
Are
So
we supposed to follow him?
Yes.
I
To get
ask
your
out
payment.
loudly.
Oh, and he says, "Yes, follow me." And he continues walking with his gnarled staff and his hunched posture.
So yeah, I'll follow.
Alright, so you just get to the main hut of this particular area. Sort of used as like a town hall sort of area. And he just sort of shoves a chest after he gets in there. You guys are at the entrance, and he just sort of shoves the chest towards you, and he says, "That is our coffers. You can take whatever is with it."
What's in it?
Alright, so you just open it. There's no, I'll say as a demon, there's no traps or anything on it. It's not even locked. And it's a big pile of copper silvers, and there's a couple of golden chalices. There's 2 golden chalices, each worth 250 gold each. And the rest is no, wait. He said he was going to pay you 50 each.
Mm-hmm.
So, those aren't in there. See, this is what I get for not preparing. Or not expecting to have to continue this. So, there are 2... Let's see. There are 2 silver chalices, each worth 25 gold each. And the rest is in coppers and silvers. But it equates out to 100 gold, with the cups included.
Okay. So I add 25 gold and a silver chalice.
Yep, so you each can put in your packs 25 gold and a silver cup worth 25 gold. And he says, "Oh, I'm sad to see those cups go, but it was worth it to make our village more safe."
You're
and
welcome.
he just sort of waddles off, unless if you have anything you want to say to him.
You're welcome.
He just sort of wanders off. And as that happens, you hear you actually hear the Dragonborn again, and he says, "Ugh, the chroniclers. You're a representative of them, right? Am I getting paid for coming out all the way here, even though I didn't do anything?"
Are they asking us, or are they asking...
No, he sounds like he's talking to somebody else outside this area that you're in.
I think they've arrived. We should go talk to them.
Okay.
Alright. So you walk outside, and you see a young-ish man, in his 20s or 30s, human, and he's dressed in mage robes, stereotypical mage robes, and they're blue, and they have a circle on the middle of the chest, and in the circle is a book. So he is one of the chroniclers. And the Dragonborn seems to be harassing him at the moment, and he's not responding to him. He's just sort of continuing to walk.
He's not reacting in any way. He's just ignoring him completely.
Yeah, he's ignoring the Dragonborn. The Dragonborn seems frustrated that he's probably not getting compensated for coming all this way to see if he can find something. So he's sort of trying to get in an argument with him, but the guy is just sort of continuing walking with this guy shouting behind him.
I look to Creo. I think he's got this handled. I don't think he needs to say anything.
No, but we called him here. He's here for us, right?
Yeah. This is still entertaining to watch.
So you see the Dragonborn, and he says, "You're really not going to compensate me. I came all the way from, let's see,
Timbuktu.
I'll come up with a city for him. I didn't expect to have him, but I'll come up with a city for him. I came all the way from Shalarney. All the way here. Walked through the mountains, through the steam-filled wastes, all the way through the undead battlefields. I'm just, I don't know why you wouldn't compensate me for that." And he just sort of waves them off, dismissively, as he continues walking. And the Dragonborn just walks off in a huff as he starts looking around, and he sees the village elder, and he approaches him. He seems like he's trying to get his attention, but he's sort of not hearing him. So the village elder is just sort of wandering off, and you just hear the guy going, "Hello? Hi? And he just sort of shrugs, and then he sort of looks over towards where you guys are standing, and he says, "Oh, never mind. And you haven't seen this guy before, but apparently he knows what you look like, and he says, hello, I am Krim," and he offers his hand to Cryo.
I'll greet him.
All right. So he offers his hand out. Whether you take it or not is up to you. And he says, "I'm Krim. I'm from the Chroniclers. You sent for a representative."
Yes, we took care of that job, and we found out about this habit. I think he's a minor deity or something.
I'll send for some information on that. But
I have some information about that, and I pull out my book.
He offers to take it from you.
Yeah.
So do you allow him to take it from you?
Yeah, I won't take it.
Okay. He takes it and he looks at it. This book is very ratty and tattered. It seems like it's been around for quite a while. And he just looks at it up and down, and he says, "Seems ancient." And he starts flipping through the pages, and you see him sort of wince at the parts that you realize that he's being described tortures and those sorts of things. And he just continues to flip through. And then he just sort of raises an eyebrow at the end, because you guys told Habit to write that weird stuff in the end. And
that definitely happened. That's how we got out.
And then he closes the book and he says, "This is a very strange artifact. I will keep it if you don't mind. The chroniclers tend to make copies of copies of copies. So we can we could give you a copy after we make our first copy, but we would like to keep the original if you don't mind.
No qualms.
Okay.
So he slides it in a. It looks like a pack that's supposed to carry books, and it looks like it has a few books in it already. And he slides it in there. And says, "So, how did you? Is the escape actually true? You guys just escaped because he wrote
Yeah,
it.
how is it written in the book?
He says,
No,
it
like,
says
oh, okay.
something to the effect of, we escape this prison because I've written it here. It's very strangely worded, and it's very messy too.
No, we just told him to write that,
Okay.
thinking the book might be magic, so we could escape. It didn't work.
Yes, it is a mundane book. So, what happened in the area? Please describe to me what happened after you left the village. And he
Okay.
takes out a notebook, and he sort of casts a minor incantation in front of him, and it sort of floats in front of him. The book.
So we started traveling in a carriage.
And he's writing down everything you say in exact detail. So I can say that you guys can just tell him exactly what happened last time.
Okay.
And he's writing everything you say. Like if you look over his shoulder at what he's writing, he's writing down in quotes everything you say.
Mhm.
And he said he's writing it down in a very strange manner. Like, first, he has headings, basically, where the first heading is like the approach, and then he continues on different headings for each step of the journey that you guys took. And he writes down who said what during the conversation.
Thorough.
So after you guys finish with you guys, you sort of, when you get to the part where you guys are looking back and they sort of wave at you, sort of thing, and then they vanish, he says, "Okay, that should be enough, unless if you encountered anything on the way back."
What did we encounter on the way back?
You
Anything
encountered
minor?
literally nothing.
Oh,
You just walked back through the forest to get back to the village.
okay.
So he says, "Unless there's anything else of note."
Not really.
And you actually see him put, after the last part, he puts postscript afterward, and he says, in quotes, he writes down, "Manny spoke, not really," in quotes.
That's thorough.
Yes. So that's the detail that he's writing this stuff in. And he closes the book, and he says, "All right, so you just let him get away?"
He seemed nice enough. I didn't read the book until after.
Okay, well, now we have a new threat possibly to look out for. If you don't mind, I'm going to approach the nearest bard. Do you happen to know where the bard would be?
Yeah, it's
I
that.
tell him.
Okay, he just sort of, unless if you want to follow him, he just sort of wanders off.
Do you want to follow him, Kriya?
Sure.
Okay.
And what about our payment from them?
He says, that will come in a moment. Just, and he continues on towards the bard, and he takes out another. It's just a loose piece of paper. It's sort of ratty. It seems like it's a piece of a scrap paper, possibly that he ripped pieces off of. It's a very small piece of paper, like this big, and there's pieces ripped off of it. And he just writes down something on the page. Do you wish to know what he wrote down on the page?
Sure. If he's not hiding it.
He's not hiding it. He says, request, any information on entity by the name of habit, in quotes. And then he writes, any request, he sort of like spaces it down, and then he writes request, any information on entity known as der Großmann.
Mhm.
And then he writes, request, payment amount for, and then he writes down how many pages of information that he wrote down. And he then says, from Creo. And then he gives it to the bard and he says, send this to the collective. And he says, okay. And he folds the little tiny piece of paper up, and then he does the same thing he did before, reaches into the little wisp, and it vanishes. And he says, just wait here a moment. They should respond within a couple of seconds here. Just give them enough time to write down their response. And he's just sort of standing there in front of the bard. And the bard is like, yep. He sort of has the expression that this is normal for these guys. So you guys wait a couple minutes if you want to talk to him about anything in those minutes.
So, anything new happened in the last 5 minutes, Mr. Bard?
A couple guys requested a strange newspaper, but other than that, no.
What strange newspaper?
And he says, it's strange because only giants live there in Lockardia, which is a volcano on the northwestern part of the world map. And he says, I don't know why they... Perhaps it's for their schooling, I don't know.
Who requested it?
A couple adults and a kid. So,
They don't sound like giants.
yeah, they don't.
So when you get the newspaper, like, do you remember what it said, or just...
Yeah, it's kind of fills up your head. You have to compartmentalize a lot of it. And you tend to forget more than you remember. But I do remember for a certain amount of time, and then eventually I might forget parts of it. But,
Can we have one?
from where?
Lacardia?
Oh, sure. And he sort of just reaches his finger up. And the guy from the collective says, I'm expecting a message any minute. Please hurry. And he sort of nods, and he just sticks his finger up. He pulls out another scroll from his bag, and he starts feverishly writing down a bunch of stuff. And he hands it to you.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. Basically, it looks exactly like a printing press newspaper would look. there's different scripts and fonts and all kinds of neat things on it. This is the Locardia Times, which is done by the news keepers, which is the people who basically chronicle. There's a collective of people that go around the world to try to chronicle different things in different parts of the world. And they have different fonts, different scripts, all kinds of different nice things. Is there a particular section of the newspaper you would like to look at?
Well, I hand it to Creo and say, "Here, can you read it for me? Because I
Sure.
can't read it."
You can read common.
No, I mean, like, I can't open it.
Yeah, you can't hold it, though.
That's what I mean.
So,
I'll just
Creo,
read it.
you have a newspaper. Do you want to read any particular section? There's news and politics. There's a sports section.
I'll just start reading from the top
Section.
out loud.
Okay, so you start reading the first
Starting
page.
with the headline. Yeah.
Alright, so the first page says, "Disaster strikes. Imminent eruption possible." The first story. And it goes on to describe that Locardia, which is a city that is of giants, it's contained within a volcano. Apparently, the lava, the magma, has been acting up within it, and they suspect that there may possibly be an eruption. And they have to build basically steel walls around the exposed parts of the city so that way it doesn't get overrun with magma.
The Times.
Yep, that's the main front page article. It goes on to
Seems
describe
like a bad place to live.
Yeah. There's even, like I said, there's an arts section, there's a sports section, there's a bounties section. So, if you want to read anything else, you can.
Yeah, I'll
Can you
just
read me
keep
the?
going, because that's what you said, read the newspaper.
Did you have a specific section that you wanted to read?
All of it.
Okay. So, which section do you just turn to the next section? Because it's basically a bunch of the first section is basically a bunch of editorials of like comments from civilians within the area. They even interviewed a frost giant that apparently lives in the volcano somewhere that is very worried about his family. Apparently there's a bunch of interesting stuff that's in there about that. Next would be the sports section. Apparently, some of the sporting events that would be taking place normally are being postponed because of the possible eruption. Though, if they're trying to get some mages in on the situation to see if it's actually going to erupt or not, and they're basically tentatively postponing anything up till the point they're permanently postponing any events up to when the mages come, and then after the mages report, they're going to tentatively postpone them. But if they find out that the volcano isn't going to erupt, then they're going to go ahead with their sports. They have javelin throwing that's being postponed, and it's a big sporting event. Like a lot of people are coming from around the world to come throw some javelins to see if they can beat any of the giants in the area. Apparently, it's a big annual thing that happens there every once in a while.
Like an Olympic kind of thing?
Sort of. It's normal, smaller folk trying to beat the weakest giant. So they determine the weakest giant by they have their own competition, and then the weaker people all try to beat the score of the weakest giant. So it might be sort of interesting to those who are interested in sports. And when you finish reading that particular section, then the bard says, "Someone's trying to contact me," and he reaches up into the stream and he produces a piece of paper out of thin air, and he hands it to Creo, and Creo takes the piece of paper.
Yeah.
So he has a piece of paper. If you guys want to keep reading the newspaper, you can. But
I would just keep reading the newspaper until it's done.
Okay. So Creo is going to be focusing on the note that was given to him. So the next section of it, oh wait, I didn't finish the sports part. So there was javelin throwing, and then there was some sort of
I thought the NPC was Krim or something, because you called him Creo.
yeah, Creo is the guy that is from the collective.
I thought you meant me when you said Creo.
Yeah. His name is Creo.
You have two Creos.
The sports section continues on with giant tackling, which is a sport that barbarians tend to take interest in. So, Manny, this is something, it's sort of like you're hearing about the Super Bowl sort of thing. Basically, a bunch of barbarians gather from the wandering barbarian tribes, and they each try to tackle different sizes of giant.
Okay. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So they try to tackle the different sizes of giant, and that's unfortunately being postponed. So
what a shame.
Yeah, your Super Bowl is being postponed, unfortunately. Yeah, but and then it says all other sports taking place after these are tentatively postponed. And you get to the arts and culture section. Apparently there is another competition, but this time it's an art competition between a dwarven artisan and a stone giant artisan, and they're trying to see who can make the most beautiful statue of one of their race, and they're each going to be rated based on certain critiques. So there's a big story on that, because dwarves versus giants is a big deal for quite a few people within the world. Let's see. There's a couple of festivals that again are going to be postponed due to the possible volcanic eruption.
Death, doom, and destruction.
Yeah. They say that if you wish to, there is a charity you can donate to that will help them build their walls up so that way they can survive a possible volcanic eruption. So they give you a place where you can send the gold, but they realize that they're not for most parts of the world, they're probably not going to receive the gold by the time they need to use it, so they say that this is for just general charity work, basically. So that's it for the arts and culture section. That part isn't very intricate. And there's a bounty section, which apparently there is a lava golem that has gone rogue because his master had been killed, and they want either a mage to get it in check or someone to destroy it. And there's a few others that are ongoing. Basically, if you kill this many of this creature that natively lives there, they'll give you a bounty, that sort of thing. Like fire drakes and those sorts of things that live in the area. Fire elementals that are always being created naturally. Those sorts of things. There's ongoing bounties, so anybody who takes in, who defeats a certain, one of them gets paid a certain amount. But other than that, that's the end of that particular paper. Those are the noteworthy things. There are more mundane things, but those are the noteworthy parts.
Okay. So, can we read the letter that was sent to us?
Creo already has read it. And he seems troubled. His expression is troubled.
What ails you, sir?
It's just that apparently this is a very bad situation.
How come?
That creature that you released, the being, whatever it is, it killed hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yes, I read the book.
Yes, it turns out that is true.
Did you watch the movie?
But it's sure he will kill anyone else now. He's been.
But the part that troubles me the most is that it did encounter the Großmann. He goes by a different name. The operator.
The which one?
The operator.
Operator.
He nods. Apparently they carved a swath through the local area a long time ago. But habit apparently betrayed the operator.
So that's why he trapped him?
The operator didn't trap him. It was us people who trapped him.
Say what?
Yes, they took the royal rodent, apparently, of the area, and trapped him within it, and then sealed him away in a... The word doesn't exactly translate, but the scholars think that it translates to something like metaphysical realm.
Okay, so he was in a metaphysical realm?
Yes. That must have been the place that you described, where you went. I think of no other explanation. But you said that you heard rumbling in your ears when you went into the root cellar in that strange alcove?
Yes, and we went into another dimension.
I think it would be worth it for me, at least, to go and attempt to procure this this artifact, possibly, if it's still there. Would you mind accompanying me? I will double your pay. They said that this information is invaluable and is worth hundreds of thousands of gold. And I will double it if you help me
Sure. Sure, what have we got to lose? Our lives? It's fine.
I didn't
He
have any other
chuckles a bit.
plans today.
All right, let's go. You said that you procured a
Oh yes, we should
ride
find him.
halfway there.
He was nice. I tried to look for the garbage driver that we wrecked.
You look around. Manny, while he is looking, you realize that you guys sort of did something bad to him, so you're not sure how much he would be willing to work with you again.
It wasn't that bad.
I mean, I gave him a potion.
Alright, well, you can still look for him.
He should also be forgiving.
Manny would know where he is.
Okay, I'll try to
And
go find him.
he's sort of a forester that works on the outside of the village, which is why you're familiar with where he is. Because his hovel that he goes back to sleep in is built sort of close to where yours is. So you can easily just find him, at least his hovel. And you go there, and you take Creo with you. And he just sort of is nonchalantly following you. He's got sort of like an elegant walk to him, as if he's sort of, he has his nose turned up at everybody sort of thing, like he's more important than everybody else who's here, but he's not doing it maliciously, so it's because of his credentials sort of thing. So it's just sort of like he's showing off, like he's got his chest out and showing off the symbol on his chest sort of thing. Let's see. So you guys get back to the hovel. You see that the two horses are in good condition, that were in really bad shape when you guys departed before. They're back in at least decent enough condition to where they can wander around and do normal things. And you hear somebody within the hovel doing something.
I knock. Tap, tap, tap.
Alright. You see him open the door, and he says, "And what do you want?"
Oh, hello, friend. We were looking for horses again.
Of course. Well, I don't have a carriage anymore, so
Oh, that sucks. That's right.
if you want a horse, I'll say you can rent it.
For 5 gold?
Let's see. Let's see how much he'll charge you.
Looking up the player handbook. Going
Yep.
for horse.
Because he wants to get his carriage back. So he's going to overcharge you up the yin yang if you want to use a horse. Let's see. In the wrong spot. Here we go. Services. Technically, in order to rent a coach cab, it's 3 copper pieces per mile. But he is going to allow you just to take the horses. So 3 copper pieces per mile. Took you a couple miles. Yeah, he's gonna way overcharge you. He's not gonna charge you 3 copper pieces per mile. So he says, "You give me 10 gold for both horses.
Okay.
If you come back with them, then good. But if you don't come back with them, then I'm expecting you to pay me an extra, let's see, 25 gold.
Okay. 25 gold.
Yeah, so it will be 35 gold if you don't come back with them, but 10 gold to rent. So up front you need 10 gold, and if you want to, you can give him the 35 gold as an insurance policy. So that way he doesn't hire bounty hunters to come after you if you don't pay up. But otherwise, he'll let you go, but he'll probably hire bounty hunters to get you if you don't pay up.
I will pay that 10 gold.
Right? So you take 10 gold out of yours. It's another 25 gold if you want to pay the insurance policy.
Okay. So Ben, you're taking 5 out of yours and I'm taking 5 out of mine.
Okay. I'm
Alright,
adding
cool.
5.
Okay. There you go. So you're going to forego the insurance payment for now, at least?
Oh no, we just paid normal to rent.
Okay. So he says, yeah, I'll send some bounty hunters after you if you don't come back with them within a week.
Well, it shouldn't be that long. Maybe 2 days.
I'm giving you some extra time.
Don't worry about it.
He nods. What are you doing still on my step?
Oh, I thought we were friends.
And he raises an eyebrow at you and then closes the door.
Okay. So let's go get the horses.
Yeah, let's find the horses.
The horses are just they got like a little, they're hitched, that's the word. They're hitched to a little post next to his hovel.
How many horses are there?
2.
Okay, so there's just 2 horses. I thought maybe he had more.
Yeah, he just was running a coach service.
Okay.
And you got rid of his coach, so now he just has 2 horses. So you and the mage can get on, but Manny, you could try to get on a horse,
Yeah, I wasn't gonna try.
but it might be a bit difficult.
I'm not even gonna try. I'm fast though. I'm either 10 feet faster or 10 feet slower, depending on the horse.
This is a draft horse, which is the regular horses, which have 40.
Okay, so I'm faster than the horses.
All right. So, you can walk alongside the horses then.
Yeah, we're bringing the other horse just in case.
The wizard has the other horse.
Yeah, you're taking both. You
Yep.
paid for both. So,
Let's go.
the wizard's gonna go on one, and I guess Cryo is gonna get on the other one. So, you have both horses. So, we ready to depart? Need any supplies?
Also,
Yeah.
how do you stop the horse? Last time it didn't go so well. I think this is my first time riding a horse.
The mage looks at the horse back and forth just to see if it's like got some sort of magic to it or anything, and he just shakes his head, and then he starts making it move like a regular horse. He sort of goes to make it move, and then he just sort of pulls back and goes, whoa, whoa. The horse goes and stops. It listens to him.
I tried to copy everything he did.
The horse does exactly what his did.
Okay.
He looks at you and he says, "Perhaps they were spooked."
Maybe. I don't know. What should you do
Yeah,
if
that
they get
happens from
spooked
time to
again?
time. If that happens again, I've read about it, but I haven't actually.
I tried to freeze them, but the cart went over the road.
He seems to nod knowingly, even though he probably's never been in that situation. He says, "Yeah, that sounds about right, but next time, just try to calm it down a little bit." He's basically saying, try to do an animal handling check next time, see if it calms down.
Okay.
And he sort of shows you some methods that might work.
Yeah.
So, you guys head out.
Mhm.
I'll say that for the ease of simplicity's sake, you do not encounter anything on the road. On your way there, though you can make a perception check to see if you see anything odd while you're going. Is anybody going to make a perception check?
Yeah, we did 2 double sixes.
There
Yeah,
it
we
is.
both got 6.
It loaded up. Okay. So, you don't see anything out of the ordinary, but you do see a few animals. Animals seem to be less skittish in this area than they were when you last came through. So it seems like something's changed in the area. Less afraid to come around. And they don't seem to be being spooked by anything like they were the last time.
Maybe Slender Man's not here anymore.
I think the ghosts left. I mean, the dragon man, he said they were nowhere to near.
You think it was the dragon? Oh, well, I guess. Or the ghosties?
Dragonborn.
Yeah, I meant the
That's what he's
ghosties.
talking about. Alright, so you guys continue. Let's see. Okay, so you get back to the hovel. There's no force field preventing you from getting into the clearing or anything, like there was last time. So you get in there. You're at the hovel now, and
Oh, what should we show you first?
It is exactly as you described. It's just a dingy hut, and he seems sort of he's got like a grimace on his face. He seems like the kind of guy who doesn't want his robe to get dirty. So, you mind showing me the way?
To the basement? To the people?
I assume that by now there's been... Actually, that's weird. And he sort of looks around and he says, "Nobody's come to retrieve the dead?"
Not that I'm
No.
aware of.
Something. And Manny, as far as you know, the local customs would be to retrieve the dead and either put slabs, like bury them under stone slabs, so that way if they become undead, then they can't get out, or to burn them. And the fact that people haven't come to retrieve the bodies yet is kind of odd.
I mean, we just told them about it yesterday.
Well, technically, it's today.
Yeah.
You're just in the evening at this point.
I'm sure somebody will come get them.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. Well, I guess we're here, so may as well do what we came here to do. And he dismounts the horse.
So yeah, I start entering.
If you don't mind, go ahead of me. Just in case something bad pops out. I'm not a frontline fighter by any means.
Okay.
I knock on the door and ask, "Are you home, Habit?"
There's no answer. And the door creaks open a little bit. As if the door wasn't closed all the way or locked or anything.
I guess he's not home.
Open the door?
Yeah, I'll open it.
Alright, so you push the door open. You look inside, there's no visible people. Like, you would have to roll to see if there might be people there, but there's no apparent people. And it's just the way that you guys left it.
I don't see any people.
Yeah, you don't see any people for sure. Yeah, it's just the way you guys left it. The bloody tools, even the carcass is still hung up with flies in it. Seems like...
yeah, I should have done this last time, and I'll remove the smell from the carcass.
And like what happened with the corpses below, the flies seem confused when that happens, and they just fly away.
So
Seems
yes,
like
it was down here where we went.
he looks in and enters, and he says, "Yes, it really does look like a murder house, I guess. Maybe the best word to describe this thing." He just looks around, and he's fascinated that all these implements, like, it looks like, if, like, say Freddy or Jason had, like, a implement, or not Freddy, Jason from Friday the 13th.
Jason Voorhees?
Yes. If he had, like, a place where he stored all the implements he ever used to kill somebody with, it looks kind of like that. He just has a bunch of random things that have blood on them.
Is all the blood still dried and old?
Yes. There's no fresh blood anymore. Or at this point, anyway. Last time there wasn't it either. So. Yeah, it just looks like a hall full of trophies for this serial killer guy that was worshipping this strange being. And the mage guy sort of looks around, and he sees that there's a bunch of... He's pretty perceptive, and he sees that there's a bunch of books and papers in the bedroom area. And he sort of goes over and he starts leafing through them, see if there's anything interesting, while you guys look around to see if there's any threats in the lower area. He sort of motions for you to go into the lower area while he searches these papers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down.
Alright, so you go down. It's the same murder basement. It's still got those weird artifacts of random animal parts in jars. And then there's the nice part a little bit further, which has like butter and cream and normal things that you would have in a cellar like this. And the one part that I forgot is that the doorway is open still, and the bodies are still there.
Yeah.
Just haphazardly piled in a pile.
Have they changed or anything?
They haven't changed since you last saw them, which was when you recovered and tried to get out of the basement.
Like there's no extra body parts.
They still don't smell, right?
Yeah, I think the prestidigitation took away whatever it was that was causing them to stink. So it seems like whatever prestidigitation took away, because you're not exactly sure what it's taking away. You just know that the smell goes away when you cast the spell.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that got taken away, it still doesn't seem like it's present. So you don't see anything. You don't see any people. That's for sure.
Okay. Check in on the chronicler. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, you sort of peek up above, and he just sort of seems like he's got a stack of papers that he seems like he wants to keep, and he's putting them in his pack. And he looks over and he says, "Well, it's the ravings of a madman, but may as well bring them just in case." And he sort of walks over. "Did you see anything down there? Anything
There's
dangerous?"
the dead people and the eyeballs and that stuff. There's also some food if you're hungry.
I'd rather refrain from eating murderer's food, if you don't mind. Might be something weird added to it.
Oh yeah, the
So
cave, that's there as well, if you wanna see it.
he comes down and he says, "So I don't see any people." He shrugs and he comes down and he says, he starts wiping off dirt that's crumbling down from the ceiling onto uh, his robe, and then
I can take care of that, and I cast prestidigitation on him.
he looks over and he says, "I don't have it myself. My servant does, but thank you." And he walks over and he starts looking in the tunnel. He places his hand. "So where's about did you have to start holding your heads?" So he's sort of looking for the exact location where you guys had the problem.
I'll help him with that.
Alright, so I'll say that you can tell him approximately where it is. You're not 100% sure because you were having headaches and going blind and that sort of thing. So you're not exactly sure, but you just say somewhere around here, and he says, "You said you found a shovel in here, do you mind?" And he offers his hand out.
Oh yeah, I go back and find a shovel, because I left it in the dirt near the corpses.
Alright, so you just grab the shovel from where you left it last and pass it to him, and he sort of just takes the shovel and he starts poking at the dirt. And he says, "Doesn't seem like this dirt was disturbed. I'll look in there anyway." And he starts moving the dirt a little bit. And then he says, "Don't see any artifact. Let's try the other side." And he starts moving the dirt. The tunnel is getting a little bit filled up at this point because of how much dirt he's moving. If you want to help him with that, he doesn't seem to be bothered by it at the moment, at least. So he starts just moving the dirt in that area. And then he says, "I don't see anything. I wish I had that man to be interviewed." And he sort of just is thinking what it could be. And he takes the shovel again and he starts knocking down other parts of the wall. Unless if you stop him or say anything. He'll just continue. So he knocks down about, let's say, he knocks down the entirety of that little alcove in the tunnel alcove. And he doesn't find anything. And then he sort of says, sure. Let me try something else. And he walks over to the pieces of wood that you guys broke in order to get in here. And he sort of starts peeling away the boards. And then suddenly he grabs one of the boards and it doesn't move. Fascinating. Do you mind helping me with this? Seems like it's not as rotten as the rest of the wood here.
Go Team Creo.
Sure. What do you want me to do about it?
Just help me pull on this. See if it'll come loose.
I'm not very strong, so I will summon up a hand to pull.
All right.
The floor has to make a strength save.
All right. It can't save, so
I
it
win.
automatically happens. So you grab it, and it does 4 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah.
It seems like you notice as the hand goes to grab it and pull. It seems like it's not doing any damage to it, but it is pulling on it. He says, nice trick. And he starts pulling on it, and it does come loose, and as the board comes down, it looks like a door frame, and it comes down in whole onto the floor. And he looks at it and he says, fascinating. And he starts looking at it, he waves his hand over it, and he's actually casting a spell this time. He's casting, he'll just tell you if you ask him, but he doesn't tell you inherently. And he just waves his hand over it, and you can see that there are glowing runes where he passes his hand over it. He says,
Yeah, I
yes,
try to
this is
figure
it.
out what he's doing. That would probably be Arcana.
Yeah.
3.
You don't know inherently, but he seems open enough. You could ask him.
So what's that spell you're using?
No, it's just a simple detect magic spell. Surprised you don't know it.
I don't know a lot of spells. I only summon ice, and I wave with the icy hand.
Yes. So you're one of those who are naturally gifted. You didn't have to learn. I can respect that. And he just waves his hand over it, and it seems like the piece of wood that you guys entered through has an enchantment on it, and that was what caused you to have the effect. So he says, alright, I'd like to bring this back in whole, if possible, for study.
Sure. It's yours.
He says, he starts trying to lift it, and he realizes that it's kind of cumbersome to pick up, because it's an entire enchanted door frame. So,
My hand is helping him.
alright, we'll say that happens. And you can
For
move
1
it for
minute.
Can
a
I
minute.
try to help him? Can I
can
try to
try.
help him?
You can try.
Okay.
He
Athletics?
sort of, yeah, you can roll to lift it. So you sort of awkwardly use your scythe arms, and you do get it up, and he seems to be struggling with lifting it. And he says, how are we going to get this out the trap door?
I
And
can
he
break the
starts-
door.
Sorry?
I can break the door. We'll get it out. I don't think anyone's living here anymore.
Yeah, the door frame is actually bigger than the trap door.
Oh,
The exit
step back, everyone.
is bigger than the door to exit the building.
Step back, everyone, I say.
He steps back.
I'm gonna thunder wave the door frame, or yeah, like not the one we're trying to secure, but like the hatch.
All right. So
And if
cast.
it gets blown away, it gets blown away an additional 15 feet because of my archetype.
All right, 13 thunder damage. Do you have the trapdoor closed or open when you do this?
I guess closed would be the better option.
Okay.
Wouldn't it?
So you close the trapdoor, and it's pure pitch black in here. But you guys have torches on already because of.
No, I would extinguish the torches and I cast light.
Okay. So you guys would have had light because it's a cantrip. You can just do that whenever you want. So when you were riding on the horses here, you would have had light cast on you, that sort of thing. So that's fine. And then you cast it. The trap door blows open and off the hinges, and there is a wider opening now. You basically blew up a bunch of dirt into the house and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Will this do it?
Well, we can try. And he sort of smiles at you, and then he says, "Handy magic, isn't it?" And he starts trying to help Manny maneuver this thing through because he even tries before all that happened. He tried to like remove the nails that were holding it together, but it seems like the enchantment is holding it whole. So the enchantment is even part of the nails that are holding it together. So if he were to, say, pry the nails off, it would break the enchantment.
No.
So you have to keep it in its current orientation in order for it to remain enchanted. So he starts by taking one of the pointed down parts, and he's trying to put it up through so that way it's sort of like sort of looks like a mouth biting the ground sort of thing, and then he wants to flip it up into the house. So you guys do that, and it successfully does it because of this larger hole that's opened. And he says, "Now the door, if you don't mind."
Boom. And it.
So this time the wall, the entire this half of the wall blows off, and the ceiling sort of lists forward. Now you have a sort of a different problem.
I think we should move quickly. I might have flown up a bit more.
All right, so they try to get it out the doorway as much as they can, and let's see. Yes, the problem is that now the doorway is constricted down lower, but it is wider, so you guys managed to slide it along the floor out the door, because the doorway is wider now, but it's lower because the ceiling is listing. So you managed to slide it out, and you guys, let's see. You guys exit the building, and you now have this door frame that you are carrying with you. And you guys are outside, but the building is sort of lopsided now.
So the horses can carry this back, right?
Yes, if you tie it to them properly, but you would need a rope. And it doesn't look like your mage friend has rope on it.
I have rope.
I have rope.
I have a ladder too, and a boat. I have
all right, so
all sorts of things.
You tie that to it, and as you guys are tying to it to there, you see in the distance torchlight. A couple of torches in the distance. Seems like
many?
people are approaching.
How many torches?
The torches that you can see, there is 4 of them. There's 4 torches, but you don't know how many people because they're too far away.
Does our awesome dragonborn friend look like he's with them?
Let's see. Make a perception check because they are still quite far away.
Boom.
All right, so it looks like some of the people that are there are those bounty hunters, but it seems like there are a couple of village people that are coming along with.
Okay.
And
That shouldn't be a problem. But once they get in range, I start taking out their torches. If they get close enough.
all right, so you guys finished tying up the thing to the horse.
Yeah, it's not that far range, so I have to be pretty close to take them out. But if they get close to me, I will.
They seem to be heading towards the hut. So
we can just leave, can't we?
Yeah, you guys. It seems like you guys can leave.
Do you have any business with these people, or us both of you, like Montes and?
Me? No, I got what I came here for.
Would my character know a little bit more about them, being from the town, village?
You do know that, like I've said before, that they want to either bury them with stone slabs on top of them, or to prevent undead, or to burn them to prevent undead. So they're probably coming to do something of that sort.
Okay, so I tell the chronicler, remember how you were talking about them coming back to claim the undead? Or the dead. This is probably what they're here for.
All right. Well, let's get out of their way, I guess. Unless if you want to stay to mourn, they are your villagers.
The people who disappeared, do I know them?
You know them. You know, a few of them were pretty mean to you, so you wouldn't have any interest in them at all. But a few of them were, they weren't nice to you, but they weren't mean to you.
They were neutral.
Yeah, they were neutral towards you. But and the guards were just guards. They just did their job.
Okay.
So there were no people who were like extremely nice to you or that sort of thing.
Okay, I'm assuming my character would have not a lot of interest in this, so we can just go on our way.
Yeah.
All right. So as soon as that happens, let's see. So as soon as you guys start to leave, you start giving them a decent berth, so that way you don't get in their way, and you know that Cryo would probably put their torches out if they got too close. So you guys sort of try to give them a wide berth. But unfortunately, it seems like as soon as you guys have light cast on you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as they see that you guys are moving over that way, they start heading towards you.
How close are they?
They are 120 feet at this particular point when they start turning towards you.
I'll keep walking for now until they're 60 feet away.
All right. Anything that you may want to do?
Not really. This is going to be funny.
All right. The man said, or Creo says, "Did we do something wrong?"
No.
Why are they coming towards us?
Bounty hunters. They don't trust other bounty hunters.
I'm not a bounty hunter.
Yeah, technically he was just here to get information because he wanted the money.
Still a bounty of some sort.
Yes, it is a bounty, technically, but he might not do it as his profession. Well, either way, it seems like they're being led by the village elder.
Mhm.
And, let's see.
Once they start getting closer, I will yell out, "Shut down your torches before you approach." Or shut them out.
They don't. They either didn't hear you or they just did hear you and didn't comply.
I will shoot Ray of Frost at the torches then, because that has longer range.
Alright.
14, does that hit a torch?
Yes, that would hit the torch. It's not trying to avoid you or
8.
anything. Alright, so the first torch is turned to solid ice in the guy's hand and he drops it. So the guy in the front drops it.
I don't know if there's more, but I'll keep doing that.
Yeah, there's 4 torches, and there's more than 4 people. You can tell at this point.
1, 2, 3.
Alright, so the one that was 8 misses, but the other 2 hit. And I assume that you're just gonna, yeah. So,
Yeah.
they're all out at this point. And they begin to rush towards you, and the village elder says, "Why are you attacking us?"
I'm not attacking you. I told you to turn off your torches.
"Turn off my lorches!"
Torches! I sent a message to him. Turn off your torches.
"Oh, torches! We didn't hear that." And they're still about 50 feet away at this point.
So what did you want? And I'll keep using message because he has hearing problems.
Apparently. Okay, so he says, we're just here to see what you're doing."
We were just cleaning up. We took a door frame and we're leaving now. If you're looking for your dead, they're still in the basement.
"Oh, well, thank you." And they still continue to head towards you. They are now, since they're moving as a group, they're moving a bit slower because some of their members are small, because one of them is a dwarf, so they are moving a bit slower. They aren't riding horses or anything. Seems like they walked all the way here. So they're about 30 feet away from you now. And they're still continuing to walk towards you.
Hey, Creo, it's time to go.
Are they posing any danger to us?
They're just walking towards you, that's all you can tell. They don't seem like they're malicious 100% at this point. Not obviously malicious, like they're not charging at you going, "Ah!" But they're walking towards you.
We'll keep walking 30 feet.
Alright. So now they are, now that you've walked past them, where they, walked past where they, it would be them going back in order to come closer to you, but they're still coming closer to you.
Okay. Hey, guys, why are you coming towards us? I extend my scythe thing. They're over there.
They don't answer you, and he says, He says, I can't hear you. And he continues walking over.
How far
And
away are they now?
you don't know unless if Cryo told you
Oh yeah, I will
that he was
definitely have told
whispering.
both of them.
Okay, so he tells you that he was whispering to him, and they're still coming, and he had a whole conversation.
Okay.
And it seems like the old man is acting like he couldn't hear you, and that's why he's continuing to come over.
But because of the conversation they had, that's not true.
Yes.
Hey, Krios, it's time to go.
Are they posing any threat to us?
Not yet.
They haven't
Not yet.
attacked you yet.
I could take them out without killing them.
It's up to you. What do you guys want to do?
That's tempting. It's really tempting.
Yeah, the chronicler is he's completely confused, and he's actually a little bit panicked. He doesn't really know these villagers at all, and they're just sort of swarming towards you guys. So he's a little bit nervous.
Can I do an insight
I'm-
to see if I actually like
That
what
is
they're
what
doing?
insight is for. So go ahead. All right, with a 16, you get the suspicion that they are putting on a friendly face. They aren't exactly friendly.
Let's go.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
Okay, then I turn the whole area around them into a freezing storm that's heavily obscured.
Alright, so does that do damage?
It
Or
does
do
no
they just.
damage, but they have to make dex save to be able to stand up, and even if they stand up, it's difficult terrain and heavily obscured, so we won't be able to see where we're going.
Okay, so it's basically like a localized blizzard.
Yeah, 40-foot radius, so that's a lot of area to cover.
Yes, that is quite a bit. They are all standing in a mob-like fashion.
Yeah.
So.
So basically from where I'm standing and 80 feet back.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll a couple with different numbers. A couple of d20s with different numbers. And you can tell me if any of them succeed.
Fail.
And one. I'll roll two more with the same number.
Fail.
Okay, so they all fall
Everyone
down.
is knocked over.
So the -3s were some of the civilians, and the other three were the bounty hunters, the 3 bounty hunters.
Yeah.
So yeah, they all fall.
I turn off. No, actually, I don't. We're in a forest, right? So I could use my mage light because the area is heavily obscured, and we would get far away before they even exit it.
Yeah, you guys can. I think. Is this a spell that you can choose who is targeted? Or who's affected by it? I don't think
I
it is.
choose who's affected.
Do you?
And on light. What spell are you talking about?
I was talking about Sleep Storm.
No, everyone is affected unless I have like a special ability, which I don't.
Okay, so they were 30 feet away from you. So you could say that you cast it in such a way that it goes 10 feet behind them and 30 feet in front of them.
It actually, it's 40 feet radius, not whole. So it's it's a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's a circular thing. But I'm saying
Yeah.
that to make it easier for them not to catch up to you, you could have cast it in such a way that you have a 30-foot line. Because if you put 40 feet in front of them, then it would be on you guys as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we would do it in a way that it's not on us.
Okay,
So,
so
like,
there's
right
30 feet.
behind horses.
Yes, there's 30 feet in front of them that is difficult terrain for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we dash. Or we hurry up.
So you start galloping the horses, and Mantis just running alongside at a skittery pace. Okay.
I keep up with the horses.
Yeah. So you guys start heading. Are you guys going to head directly back to the village, or are you going to go somewhere else?
Where are we delivering this store to?
The door? The chroniclers, which is he's going to take his plan was to take a teleportation circle back to the chroniclers.
We should head there then.
All right, so you're going to head directly to the
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no business in town. I don't know if you have, Mantis.
There might
Nope.
be some personal belongings at your hovel, but other than that, probably not.
Nah, as long as I got my harmonica, I'm fine.
Yeah, you got that. So you guys start. Do you guys take the path, or do you take going through the middle of the woods sort of thing?
We're
Well,
faster than them. Let's take the path.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So let's see. Okay. So I'm gonna need you after about 10 minutes to make a perception check. See if they're still following you or if anything else is there.
15.
5.
All right. For the heck of it, he's not very perceptive. He's actually pretty. He's decently perceptive, I would say. Okay, so I'm gonna go give this information to the person who has the highest number, which is Creo. Let's see. So you guys are on the horses and galloping at full speed, and he's sort of looking around on both sides of himself, and he says, "Oh no." He doesn't say anything else. Just says, "Oh no."
What is it?
And he points to both sides of you. You can see that there are lines of torches in the woods besides you.
Say what?
And it seems like in front of you, it seems like they're trying to pincer you off on the path.
Should we keep moving?
Want to fake them out and go the other direction?
If I fake them out, we can go through them.
All right, let's go.
I start shooting frost bolts at the torches.
All right, and that would help. Except, do you still have light cast on you?
Do we need light to follow the road?
I
It's dark.
kind of.
It's nighttime. So
we would
if
need
you don't
light.
have a source of light, then you would basically be going blind.
Okay, so we would have light cast on us.
Which means that you are now a beacon in the middle of dark woods. So
Yes.
that means if you get rid of their torches, it's not really going to affect whether or not they know where you are.
Shoot their torches anyway.
Okay, I'm
Because
just
we're
saying
moving
that
past them. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying that it won't affect them not knowing where you are, because you're a beacon of the dark forest.
So I'll shoot a couple.
Alright, that's fine. I'll just say that you can roll, and if they hit, then it automatically extinguishes them. Okay, do 2 more as you're going past.
Dang.
Okay, So those all hit. So all 4 torches are gone. As you get close to this large group, you get rid of extinguish their torches, which momentarily disorients them because they don't realize what you're doing. And do you double back, or are you attempting to go through them into the woods?
Aren't we following the road? That's what I thought.
Yes, you're currently following the road, but they're attempting to pincer off the road. So, like, they're coming from both sides onto the road in front of you.
I thought we were going like on the road, but deeper into the forest, not towards town.
Yes, but this particular section of path, they knew that you would have to come through here if you were coming in this direction.
We're still going forward. Pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not gonna double back or anything. You're just gonna try to go straight through them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's an option. Okay, so before you come into, like, we'll say 20-foot range of them. So you're about 20 feet away, or 30 feet, I'll say. 30 feet away, so before you get 20 feet to them. You hear, "Don't harm the horses!" And you hear, and you see a few of the villagers go, and you see in the distance off to the side, you see the guy who you rented the horses from. And he is apparently stopping them from killing his horses. And you guys begin to rush forward.
No.
You have...
If I see that, then something else is gonna happen.
Okay, so you see the guy who's attempting to stop them from killing the horses, which is apparently what they're going to do. Apparently this guy knows something that you guys don't.
Yeah.
So he's off to the side of the path, and he has a bow and arrow, and he's currently sniping them. And he hit 2 of them and knocked them down, whether they're dead or not.
So assuming I heard that, I'm gonna shoot a frostbow and say, "Don't harm my friend's horses."
All right. So you're gonna throw a frostball into the area?
Yeah, into the people that's blocking the road. That's a 20-foot radius.
So what's the radius?
A 20-foot radius.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that hits all of them. Their dexterity isn't very good because they're just villagers trying to.
Villagers have like 4 HP, right? So.
They are villagers, so but they apparently are trying to mob you. So I'll roll a couple of these. Okay.
I also forgot that's actually 31 damage because of my feat, and I ignore resistances if there's cold resistance. Because my ones counts as 2s.
So it's 30, what was it? 30?
31.
Okay, so are you doing lethal damage or knockout damage?
I mean, in a frostbolt or firebolt, I don't really think you can choose. It's a massive blast of cold.
You can choose non-lethal damage, which means that you use it in such a way that it hurts them but doesn't kill them outright, or you can just say that it's lethal and kill them.
It would probably be lethal at this point.
Okay, so
With a massive blast of ice.
All the villagers in front of you are turned to ice.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were doing it non-lethal, they would just be encased in ice. So it's up to you. I'll allow you to choose.
Yeah, encased in ice. Yeah, I'll do that one.
Okay, so they are still alive within the ice, but they are unable to fight back. Okay. Because 30 is way over their health. They would have insta-died, no matter what. So.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah, they'll just freeze.
Okay. So there's enough, it looks like the way that you froze them in, there's enough space in the middle but it's sort of like a horse hurdle that your horse is gonna have to jump over in order to get through. So since you're riding a horse, you're gonna have to make an animal handling check to see if you can get the horse to jump over this or not.
10.
All right, the horse stops for a second and bucks back, but you manage to stay on the horse. You're gonna have to try again to get it to jump over. Let's see. Animal handling with not the best animal handler.
15.
Yeah, his horse bucks him off, and he is currently on the ground. But the door frame is still tied to the horse, so he's gonna have to take his next turn to. And so do you have to and he's gonna take his next turn to get back on the horse. Right now the villagers are disoriented because a bunch of ice just froze a bunch of their friends. So they're not directly attacking you yet. So you have one more chance. 15 will get you over, so you manage to stop the horse from being afraid of this ice that just appeared in front of it, and you manage to get it to jump over. And he manages to climb back on and get the horse to jump over. So you guys are still running. It seems like you've passed by the bulk of them, which they were attempting to block off this path. It seems like you managed to get past the bulk of them. There might be a few stragglers that were slower on the way here, and they might be able to find you. So you can either try to stealth, which is at disadvantage because you have light on you in a dark area, or you can just try to deal with them when they get there.
We should just hurry, right? We're focusing on speed.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so you're galloping, and Creo, he says, "This is quite exhilarating, is it not?" He seems
I mean, I didn't
excited.
know the villagers were that. They're just like the horses. They can't handle cold.
Yeah, apparently. And he's got a big grin on his face. It seems like this is one of the more exciting things he's done in at least a while. So you guys continue on. You do see that there are a few stragglers, 2 or 3 of them, that are sort of attempting to get in the path in front of you.
Do they have torches?
Yes.
I freeze the torches.
Alright, so you freeze. There's 2 torches in this group, and there's 3 guys. So you're about 60 feet away. Is that the range of it?
The range is 60 feet, yeah.
Okay, so you would be able to get one of them before you reach them.
There are 3 people and they're like enemies now, right?
They seem to be trying to block the
Yeah.
path, and these ones have swords out at this point.
Okay, so they're armed and they have swords out. That changes
Yes.
things a bit.
Yes, it seems like they're going
Are they
to try
within
to
5 feet
horses.
of each other?
Sorry?
Are they within 5 feet of each other?
They're coming into the path, so I would say yes.
Okay, because then I'm gonna do a first level spell slot, Ice Knife. And
Alright.
I'm gonna spend 1 sorcery point to make a target an additional target. So the 2 on the sides is gonna hit both of them.
Okay.
So I have to make 2 different rolls. First for the one on the left. Misses. Then for the one on the right. So 10 hit.
Yes, he's a civilian. He's not very...
But even the one that misses, he still has to make a dex save or take cold damage. And that includes the middle one as well, because the cold damage is a 5-hit area.
Okay. So, they have -3 dex. They're not fighters. -1 and 13. So they both fail. So are you doing lethal damage?
I'm trying to freeze them over, like encase them in ice.
Okay,
So
so the guy in the middle still has to roll, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if
I didn't roll for it.
he saves twice, then he doesn't take damage.
Okay, so he gets advantage?
No, he has to save twice because I hit 2 ice knives and they both freeze
He
over.
has to save twice, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, he
Yeah.
failed both. So you stick ice in one of the guys, and he freezes over. You stick it in his clothing, and it freezes him over. And the other one misses and hits the ground, but it freezes the other two in place. And this time, since there's only 3 of them, then guys can just go around them.
Okay.
So you guys go around them quickly, and
I tell Mantis I can't keep this up all night.
Yes, I can.
Alright, so it seems like you got past the villagers that were trying to attack you. And now you're on a branching path that goes away from the village.
Okay.
Alright, so let's see. So you're on this branching path, and are you guys gonna still run for a little while? How long would you guys run for? Let's say you were gonna keep running for another day or so. How long would you keep dashing for?
However long we need to.
Okay.
However long the
Until
horses or
basically.
until the horses or the Mantis gets tired.
Okay. Yeah, you can sprint with them. Your movement speed would be enough to sprint with them.
Mhm.
So you're fine for a little while. I'll say that an hour passes of you just sprinting, and then you would get pretty tired after that. If you continue after the hour, you would encounter an exhaustion level.
An hour is fine.
Okay, so you guys went for an hour, and you start getting tired, so you'd have to walk at that point. You won't be able to dash anymore.
Okay.
So basically, the both of you see that your mantis friend is at peak sprinting ability. So you guys slow down. Still dark out, but you don't see any more villagers. I don't think that they expected you to come this way. Or you don't think, not I. You guys don't think that they expected you to come this way.
The villager didn't expect you to freeze them all and walk past them.
That's true too.
Okay, so would my character have an idea of why they were chasing us?
I'll say make a straight intelligence check.
Can I too? Or
Yes, you can.
I rolled 4.
Okay, 14 is enough. The DC that I set in my head for this was 13. So you made enough. You think that they're blaming you for what just happened? Though you're not sure why they would blame you if this happened before you got here.
Mm-hmm.
This is Creo. Or Cryo, I should say. Who's thinking that?
you have been here a while, right? Maybe they're blaming you for all the dead people because they weren't a murderer.
Just because I look like a freak doesn't mean I'm a freak.
I don't see any other way why they would attack us.
Maybe they think we're lying.
Why would I lie?
I don't know. Well, you wouldn't. I was with you. I know you weren't lying.
You guys were both there, and there was a murder shed.
Mm-hmm.
based on his intelligence roll, I'll give him that. There was a murder shed. There was no evidence of anybody else there.
Mm-hmm.
They sent other people to go confirm what you said, and you guys didn't tell the truth, according to them, the bounty hunters. So then when you guys were going back, they probably got suspicious that you were trying to cover something up.
Yeah,
can see
maybe
that.
they thought we were both into it.
Well, either way,
If I were to kill somebody, they wouldn't be left like that.
I don't think there'd be anything left. I think you'd freeze them and then shatter them.
That sounds like a blast. But don't worry, they should be fine. They just need to heat up around a fire pit or something.
Alright, I need to use the washroom, so you guys can plan for a little bit to see what you guys do next.
Okay, so do you want to see if we can find Habit?
I mean, sure, but why should we? What's the plan with finding him?
At this point, I have no idea how to find him.
Me neither. And he's probably just gonna kill us if we find him. Like, that would be the logical, or why he would probably not do that though, but yeah.
Or what if he took over the other guy's body and he's trying to off us because we know his secret?
No, but we're friends with Hobbit. He seems he seems so nice.
What about Slender Man?
Oh. Yeah, well, I talked to him too. He wasn't so bad.
I've run out of ideas.
I'll say we just get to the teleport,
In GTFO.
get paid for a job.
Okay.
I mean, that seems like a logical solution.
Sounds like a plan. What are you eating?
I'm sorry. Milk chocolate cookies.
Oh, you should have some of these. These are delicious.
I really like this type. They're like soft. They're not hard.
Like a sugar cookie?
Probably.
I need some water. I'll be back. Myself.
Yep.
I didn't leave you alone for too long, right?
No, it's fine. I'm used to being left alone.
Okay, so the plan is to go find
To go to the teleportation stone.
I mean, go find the teleportation and then get paid.
Yeah.
Okay. I can subscribe to this.
Unless you have a better plan. But to be honest, I don't think finding Habit is a better plan.
I throw out ideas and people vote what's the best one. I feel like this is a getting to know you time.
Getting to know who?
I feel like this is a getting to know you time.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, not much to know about me. I live alone in the basement in the dark.
You know what we call people like that here?
Yeah. No.
Comic book
Oh,
guy. That's what we call people like that.
yeah, I don't read comic books.
You've seen The Simpsons, right? With comic book guy?
Yeah. I've seen The Simpsons. When I was a kid, I had like 10 seasons on DVD that I rewatched like 50 times.
Comic book guy.
Yeah.
On the plus side, I'm going on a trip. I leave tomorrow, but not
Where?
today. Boston.
Boston. Oh yeah, you said something about Boston. I thought you already went.
I thought I was leaving today. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not today.
What are you doing in Boston?
Going to one of the Renaissance fairs and watching the leaves change.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm not paying for it, so
sounds pretty boring to be honest.
kind of does, but I'm not paying for it, so we're good.
Have you been to any other countries than America?
Does Mexico count?
Yeah, sure.
Went to Mexico for a little while. Is that it?
I'm from Norway, but I've been to Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Poland, England, Turkey twice, Czechia. Yeah, I think that's it. Unless I'm forgetting somewhere.
I don't get the luxury of, other than Mexico, of literally being like a few hundred miles away. Like you could drive.
Yeah, it's further to some parts of Norway than it is to like Denmark and Sweden.
Other than Mexico, if I want to go to another country driving, it's going to be at least 24 hours drive just to get to Canada.
Yeah. I mean, there's only like 3 countries on that continent.
Mm-hmm. And then if I want to go to South America, I'm going to have to fly.
Yeah.
So being in Europe definitely has its advantages to see other places.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
We missed you and
No
got
problem.
lonely.
Okay. So I heard just head towards the teleportation device.
Mhm.
Portal.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see. Okay. So, you guys start storming towards the portal. And unless you have anything you want to ask Creo in the meantime.
So what kind of magic was on this thing?
He looks over at you and he says, I'm not sure. It seems like it has a disguising magic on it as well.
So it's not a door frame.
Sorry, I missed
So
it.
it's not really a door frame.
I think it's a door frame, but I think the disguising magics are for what its actual purpose is.
Did any of us walk through it when we got back there?
Creo walked through it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering.
He didn't seem to go anywhere or do anything.
Okay. So, yeah, I didn't have anything else.
Hey, Manny, anything?
Nope.
Alright.
Arcana on the portal, see if I or circle, see if I know a little bit more about it than it's just the circle.
Are you talking about the door frame or the teleportation circle when you get
Teleportation circle when we get there.
there? Okay. So that will be when you get there.
That'd be about it. We got the door frame and
Okay.
everything's taken care of. See?
So you have the door frame with you. Alright. Let's see. So you guys start storming towards the teleportation.
Mhm.
Yeah, it takes you about another hour to get there. And let's see. Yeah, you get there. Seems like while you were going there, most of the animals are remaining calm in the forest. It doesn't seem like they're agitated or anything. So as long as you guys stayed on the path, you stayed in relative safety. Though a few times you did hear some noises that you thought might be something dangerous, but you guys just kept on moving. So it didn't seem to go after you or anything. Like, actually, I'll make a roll. Yeah. Creo identifies it as possibly an owl bear, or a couple of them, because you heard a couple screeches from the woods on either side of the path. So it probably was some owl bears out there that were in the middle of doing something while you guys were passing. But they didn't come to the pass, so you didn't care. You just kept going.
Yeah.
Alright, so you guys are at the circle. You don't see the circle yet. It's a little shack made out of stacked stones. It's kind of like cube-like in shape, or a rectangular prism in shape. It's not exactly cubed. It's more long than tall. And it has a metal door on it. And he says, "This is where I came through."
So yeah, let's go.
Alright, I feel bad about just leaving the horses here.
Oh yes, we
Okay.
should tie them up.
Can we just bring them with us?
Oh yeah, can we bring them with us? We have them for a week.
He starts thinking. It seems like he's calculating something in his head. Well, there is enough to bring. I'd say we could, but then we'll be in the middle of the Chronicler's library with 2 horses.
We can take them out. Or they could hang out there and we could teleport them back when we need them.
Okay, I see what you mean, though. We should not leave any traces of where we might have went.
Right. And we should hold true to what we said to the stable carriage guy.
Yeah, he's gonna need his horses back.
He did defend us, and I wish I could interview him. Like, that's my thing, as you're gonna get to know about me. I like to interview people. I wish I could have interviewed him, or at least brought him along with us. But
Next time.
well, we may see him again yet. So he opens the metal door, and he pushes it open, and inside it's just a very plain looking inside. It's just an open room, and it has sconces, or basically like it has 3 legs and a pole that goes up, and it has a thing that you can light on top. They're currently not on, so don't worry about putting them out. They're dim sconces, and there's like 10 of them around this circle. And he says, I do know that you have an aversion to fire, so please try to contain yourself. We will need to light those to fire up the teleportation circle. So please attempt to.
Sure, I will make a wisdom save.
All right. So he says.
Yeah, I'll handle it.
All right. So he ushers you in, and he says, "Stand in the middle and make sure the horses don't get too claustrophobic or anything and try to run away."
I send message to the horses: don't get too claustrophobic.
You don't hear
Can
language
horses
response.
speak back when I use that?
You do hear in a whispered tone.
Okay, I try.
As in a whinny, but it's in a whispered tone.
Yeah.
So it seems like if it understood you, if it can understand language, it would have understood you. So they seem to be calm enough and stay in place. And he walks around the circle, and there's herbs and things in the but he just sort of puts his hand on it and it lights up. He puts his hand on the next one, lights up, and he puts his hand on all of them but the last one, and then he turns, stands in the middle or within the circle itself, and he places his hand on the last one, and then the runes all light up, and he hurriedly goes over to one of the horses and just grabs onto it, and you see a bright flash of light, and suddenly you are within another room. This one, the sconces are lit, and then they dim as you guys
I shut
come
them
in.
down when we're there.
Yeah, they would have dimmed anyway after a while. So he says, "Now I can breathe." Do you guys do this often?
No.
Teleport?
Run away from angry villagers.
Oh. No, it's a first for both. And it's the second time I've had a horse.
He seems slightly bewildered by that. He says, well, how do you get around without horses?
I'm faster than a horse.
Yeah, you are faster than a horse, but he's talking to Cryo.
I said I prefer swimming.
Perhaps a seahorse, then? He sort of jokingly says.
That's dumb.
I try to figure out what he means, but I don't get it.
He seems to be talking about some sort of underwater creature, but you probably don't know them by the names that he's referring them to. So, because your society that you probably come from is a lot different than the ones on land.
Yeah.
So, he sort of seems like he's calming himself down, like he's coming down off an adrenaline rush, and he looks at his hand and it's shaking, and he sort of tries to steel himself a little bit as he goes to open the door. Ka-ching! in front of you guys, and this one's a wooden door. And on the other side of the door, you see is a vast library.
Cool.
So you guys can choose to take the horses through the door. They will fit through the door. The door is high enough. It seems like the door is big enough for people of larger stature, I'll say, that are able to
Giants.
use those. Probably giants. So there's probably a giant or two that may come through here every once in a while. So they have a bigger door. So the horse can easily fit through the door if you want to bring it through.
Should we bring the horse? Asked the local trio.
Oh, you ask him? He says,
They have the thing.
just if you want to take them through, just wait here a moment. Do you want to take them through?
I
Can
don't
we
know.
just leave him here?
You can leave them here. I'll notify somebody that there is the teleportation room is currently occupied by something other than us. He sort of laughs. So if you wish, you can come. It's as long as you promise not to destroy anything.
Should I freeze the horses so they didn't move?
Just close the door behind you. I don't know if they know how to open doors.
Oh. No, me neither. I haven't seen one open a door yet.
I've heard of a few instances where it would be possible, but I don't think these horses have that ability. So just come through and shut the door behind you.
Sure. I'll do
Right,
it.
so you guys go through, and he says, just before you come through, promise me you won't destroy anything.
Why would I destroy anything? I mean, it's not on fire, right?
He nods to you and he motions towards Manny. Do you also promise?
Yes. Yes, I do.
All right, come through. And
I don't see why you think we would destroy anything.
As soon as you come through, you see in front of you, 2 pages come in front of you, and it says it's basically an agreement to not destroy anything while you're here. And the one of you who can actually make a signature, you can write a signature on there, just so that way it's. And he's like, it's for legal reasons. In case you do destroy something, you have to reimburse us. That's all that this is for.
Okay.
I can promise to attempt to not break anything, but I can't promise that we will not destroy anything.
I sign mine.
I understand what you mean. Just, I understand that your kind cannot sign, but we do have an alternative. So there is a pen that's in front of you, Cryo, and you can.
Yeah, I sign it.
Yeah, and it just vanishes in front of you, and he comes over and he says, "Just hold out one of your scythes."
Okay, I hold it out.
And he sort of walks over to one of the tables and he fiddles around with something, and then he takes out. You see him come over with a paintbrush, and he sort of paints the side of your scythe with ink, and he says, "Just place that on the side on the paper."
Okay.
So you do so.
Yes.
Okay. So as you put it on and take it off, there is an imprint on the page, and he says, "Your sides tend to be pretty unique between each other, so this is a good enough signature." And the page vanishes. It's basically like a fingerprint. He's basically taking your fingerprint.
That's what I figured.
So he says, "Just allow me to," and he takes a cloth and he wipes off your blade clean, just so that
Does
way.
he shine it?
He wipes it off, and he says, we do have sharpeners in the people who are specialized in sharpening such natural implements is yours. If to go and visit them while you're here, you can feel free.
Potentially.
Yes, your kind around here tend not to write anything, but we do use you. Those who are interested can use can carry books for people, and you can also read of the information, so you can become a scholar if you wish. But while you're here, just wander around. We will locate you. When I have to go report to my superiors, and they would probably be interested in hearing what you have to say. But until then, this is your oasis.
Thank you.
And he nods, and he says, I will be back with whoever comes to attend to you. So, I will return. And he walks off. Unless if you have anything else you want to tell him before he goes.
No, just
No.
thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So he leaves, and you are in a vast library, and there are people of every race that you could imagine that are just wandering around. A lot of them have glasses on, and some of them don't. But they're just wandering around the halls like they're accepted like anybody else.
Cool.
So do you like reading books?
When I can, yeah.
I haven't read too many books. I just know how to cast magic.
And actually, a manti comes by and sees that you guys are just standing there, because it seems like it's not a very common sight to see a manti wandering around a library. But another one does approach and says, hello. Do you need any help? And he sort of looks at your scythe, and you see that on one of his scythes is a little tiny appendage that's stuck to the end of his scythe. And he says, do you need a page turner? And he shows you it.
Yeah.
So he says, follow me. And he sort of walks down one of the hallways, and there's a table that's covered in these little implements, and he says, just slide your scythe inside, and then you won't harm the book with your appendage.
Cool.
Yeah. So you just slide one of those things on, and it's just a little metal implement that's rounded. And he says, "Here, I'll give you an example." And he walks up to one of the bookshelves, and he places his scythe on the side of it, not to damage any of the books. And one of them floats off and down onto the table. And he says, "Give it a try."
I attempt.
All right, so you just move your scythe underneath the cover, and you can flip it easily. And then you can flip the pages by sticking the little metal implement under the page that you want to turn to and flipping it over.
Cool.
He nods and says, yes, most of our kind aren't aware of this technology, so have fun. And he sort of just mosey on away. And the book that he got for you is Reading for Manti. Reading for Manti Dummies is what it says on as the title. So he assumes that you can't read.
Okay.
So you can read, but he just assumed that you couldn't. So you can go up to one of the shelves and pick up a different book if you want.
I put that one back where I think he got it from, and then I try to, get another one.
All right, so this is how this works. You basically go up to the shelf as he did, and you imagine the book being put back, and the book just magically floats up and goes back where it was.
That's cool.
And you put your scythe on there, and you can try whatever you want.
Just the first book. The first book that catches my attention.
All right. So you think of which book, the book that's in front of you, since they are displayed, and you sort of just think of the one that's closest to you, and it sort of just slides off and delicately places on the table.
Cool. I go and start reading it.
All right. So while you're doing that, Cryo.
I start wondering about, and then I
Right.
think of maybe they have a lot of information here.
They do.
So
They are the chroniclers, so they do chronicle things. So there's lots of information.
I'm gonna see if they have a section about the planes, like the water, earth, air, fire plane.
Oh, the different elemental planes?
Yeah.
Okay. So you walk up to one of the bookshelves, and you place your hand on the bookshelf, and you sort of think of one of the books that you want to get, or the type of book that you want to get, and a couple of them come down and float in front of you, and so you have a couple options. There's specific books about each plane, and then there's one that's about accessing different planes in general. So which one do you want?
I want the one that's accessing different planes in general, and the fire and the water book. I'll take all three.
Okay. So you just think that you want all three of those books laid out?
Yeah.
And the books that you didn't want just sort of float back to their position. Those three just float to the reading table and stack neatly.
I'll have a look at those.
All right. So we'll say that you guys are pretty close to each other, relatively, just so that way it's easier. You didn't wander too far off from each other. And you guys can read your books. The book that Manny got is a book on, let's see, different species of fly that exist in, let's see, different species of fly that exist on the cloud-filled terrain.
Like where giants are?
The cloud-filled terrain is a floating island above the windy sea.
Oh, okay.
All right, so you're reading about different species of fly. That's the first book that was on that shelf.
Okay.
All right, so you're just reading about the different species. Yeah, there's a few interesting species of note. There's apparently a fly that is partially made up of water droplets, and it's called the cloud fly. And it looks like a little tuft of cloud, but it has wings and eyes, and it just sort of flies around on the cloud-filled terrain. So it looks like a little puff of cloud with fly wings attached to it, and little fly compound eyes on it.
Sounds cute.
And it just sort of flutters around. And yeah, there are more general flies that can live there, but they tend not to because it's too high up for them to be able to survive. Yeah, so that's the main one that probably catches your character's attention. All right, so you Cryo have 3 different books. Do you want to start with any one in particular?
I'll start with how to access them. Yeah.
All right, so you open it, and it starts giving you details on the wind plane, the fire plane, the water plane, the earth plane, and how they're accessed, each individually. The wind plane, you tend to have to be able to fly in order to access it. It's because the portals are in the air, so they can be anywhere in the air. So you tend to have to fly, but they can be near the ground, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to get up to them, basically. The Earth plane, they're obviously within rock or other dirt or other things that are associated with Earth. So sometimes they're buried in solid rock, and you have to mine them out in order to get to them. Water plane, you tend to have to go into the water. There is one in the Aquan Sea, which is what created the Aquan Sea. Actually, I'll bring up the map, since I am talking a lot about the map. So, cloud filtering over here. So that's where you're reading about the flies. That's where they would exist. So the Aquan Sea is here. So where you were somewhere around here.
Yeah.
So you would have, if you were in the sea, you would have come out somewhere over here, about, and then walked over here. So in the Aquan Sea, you have to be able to get deep enough in the Aquan Sea, and it's basically like a perpetual geyser that's creating water. And the only reason it doesn't like drown the world is because of the Earthen Sea. The Earthen Sea tends to absorb all the water, and it prevents it from overflowing the entire world. But the problem with the big portal under the Aquan Sea is it's guarded by things like krakens and triclaws and those sorts of creatures. And for those who don't know what a triclaw is, it's basically like a large hermit crab that has 3 claws, and it has a large eye in the middle. Yeah, so it's guarded by large legendary creatures that tend to block passage from most things. You can try to get past them just by zooming past them into it, but it tends to be hard. There are other water sources that are smaller that have ways into those planes, so you can try to look for one of those if you're interested in going there. And the fire plane, yeah. So the wind plane, there is one here in the Windy Sea, and the earthen plane, there is one in the mud flats. But they tend to be hard to access, just like the Aquan one. And the Blazing Mound has one as well, or one for the fire. And anywhere where fire can be created, you can create a fire portal. But you have to know how to create the portal in the first place.
Yeah.
So anywhere where there's extreme heat or fire, there can be one. But people tend to have to create those. Except for the Blazing Mound, which has one that perpetually stays in place. So the fire one tends to be the harder one to gain access to. So it gives you a bunch of information, like on specific locations where they've seen entrances. They're all over the place. So if you have a specific location that you would like to look into, you can look into that. But otherwise, it's just giving you basic information on how to access them, that sort of thing.
So yeah, I would assume I know or I've seen like a world map in character.
Yeah.
Or...
There is a world map in this book.
So yeah, I would look for stuff about encompassing cold and raw elemental clash cold and air.
All right.
Because that might be where this character is headed after.
All right. So you look up there, cold and air. There are a few entrances to the water plane there. That's where the cold comes from. It's from a part of the water plane that is completely covered in ice, so you can gain access to the water plane through there, but it would be on the specific location that's covered in ice, which is it's very close to the wind plane, which is why it's so cold, because the wind is blowing over the water constantly, freezing it. So the elemental planes are very interlocked. They're locked in a circle around the material plane. So the cold part of the water plane is near where the edge of the wind and the water planes meet.
Yeah.
So if you were to go there and find one of those portals that are marked, I'll say that you can take out a piece of paper and mark the locations on like a rough sketch of the area.
Yeah,
So if you want to
I'll do
find
that.
one. Okay. So you have a rough sketch of a few possible locations you can check out. Is there anything else that you want to do with these 3 books?
I'll probably try and get a copy of them. I mean, if there are copies.
So basically, what happens is, if you're going to try to do that, you would have to talk to somebody.
Yeah, I'll try to talk to somebody.
Alright, so there's a passing by drow elf that is just sort of walking by.
Excuse me, do you know where I can get copies of books?
And this particular drow elf has really long white hair and glasses that are perched on his nose. And he sort of looks over and he says, if you want a copy, he sort of looks back and forth and he says, I kind of work here, so I guess I can help you with that. And he comes over and he says, so what books do you want copies of?
History?
All 3 of them?
Yes.
And he sort of just looks at the titles, and he goes over to the bookshelf and he places his hand and he closes his eyes, and then 3 exact replicas of those books come on the table and are placed, and he says, but that will cost a little bit of money. We do create those, write them manually usually, but some people do use magic to just duplicate them. So it does cost a little bit of money.
How much?
Each of those, and he just sort of waves his hand, and the 3 original copies go back onto the shelf. He says, 20 gold.
Do you take a silver cup?
Let me see it.
I hand him the silver cup.
He looks at it and he says, if you're willing to give me a tip of 5 gold, then yes, I will take this.
Sure.
Alright. And he just sort of goes like this, and he lets it go, and it sort of floats off into the, somewhere off into the library. It's just sort of floating in the air, going somewhere that you're not sure where. And then you see 5 pieces of gold float back into his hand. Are you sure do you want change, or are you going to allow me to keep this?
You may keep those. Thank you for your help.
No problem. If you need any more help, just let me know. And he puts it in his pocket. So it seems like there's some sort of exchange magic that happened there.
Yeah.
So he just sort of walks off, unless if you need anything else from him.
Oh, actually, you know the thing you just did with that cup? Can you make anything into gold?
Well, what really happened was that cup went to the vault, and for our coffers, and I just exchanged 5 gold out.
Oh. It was a lot
So-
cooler in my head. I'm sorry to bother you. I'll go back.
All right. And he just sort of wanders off. So if you have anything else you want to do while you're waiting?
No.
All right. So about 2 or 3 hours pass. People just wandering by. Some people are interested in what books you're looking at, that sort of thing, and they'll glance over your shoulder and then sort of walk on by. They don't seem to be... They're not prejudiced on whatever race you are or anything like that. They're just here to gather some knowledge, and they're interested in what knowledge you're gathering, that sort of thing, and they just keep on going. So, I'll say that he encounters Cryo first. Creo. He's walking with somebody. Walking with a man, male. A male gnome is walking next to him, and the gnome is just sort of nonchalantly almost walks past you, but notices that Creo stops when he's with you, and he says, "Ah, there you are. I thought I read the map correctly. I'm glad I found you. We're here about your payment."
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
All right. Where's your friend?
I don't know. I'll try to send a message. Where are you? Are you within 120 feet?
Most
Yes,
likely.
she is. She is within 120 feet.
I'll tell him she's within 120 feet. She's
Alright.
somewhere close. I'm not sure where.
All right. He starts using his perception checks.
So yeah,
Just one
just get a weird message in your.
What specifically do you send to her?
Are you nearby?
If I can hear you, yes, I'm nearby.
Yeah. So you both just whispered back and forth. That's what just happened.
Yeah.
So unless if you make a noise or something, he's just gonna use his perception.
Oh, I raise my scythe.
All right. So he's gonna have advantage on this then. Yeah. He manages to spot your scythe raised up, and you guys all file over to that location. And he says, "So, about your payment, first, we are going to ask that you recount the events of the escape from the village. I know it's a bit tedious, but we are the chroniclers, and we try to get as much information as we can. And then, I have permission," and he sort of motions down to the gnome, who is currently silent, and he has a monocle on. And the little gnome, and he doesn't look old, but he has a monocle on. He looks like he's young for a gnome, at least. And he sort of nods towards both of you, and he says, "For 1,000 gold, for the original information, and then 1,000 gold for helping me retrieve that artifact from the horse that is currently on our horses." He sort of giggles.
Well, that's great.
So 2,000 gold each. I think it's fair compensation. We get money from people requesting copies all the time. It costs us very little to create these copies, but we request a sizable amount for each copy. So we're willing to spend this money to get this information.
So yeah, that's 1,000 gold each, right? In total.
2,000 each.
Oh, 2,000 each. Okay.
And he says, but before you get your gold, we would ask that we could interview you.
Of course.
Alright, we would ask that you head to separate rooms, just so that way you don't taint each other's testimony.
Okay.
I'll head to whatever room.
Alright, so
Ditto.
one of you follows Creo, and the other one follows the gnome.
Ditto. Okay.
Alright, so I'll say that Cryo follows Creo into a separate room, and he just starts asking you questions about how you perceived what happened. So your character recounts what he perceived happened. And then...
So yeah, I would just say what I saw happening. Like I wasn't trying to... like I didn't kill anyone as far as I recall. They were just frozen a bit.
Yeah. So you just basically give your account for what just happened, and he writes it down in great detail. And the gnome who's with Manny just asks very general prodding questions about the entire event. Sort of like start from the beginning, give me a timeline. So this happened before this sort of, that sort of thing, and he just starts filling up this book.
I tell him what happens chronologically.
All right. So he just starts filling that out, and he says the gnome actually does something that Creo doesn't, and he says, "So, are you sure that you encountered Habit? He said you." And he sort of adjusts his monocle.
Pretty sure that's what he said his name was.
He was a squirrel first.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably, I don't see why it would lie to you, but the testimony is not going to change at all.
No.
And he says, he's saying that as in, like, it's not going to change what you say happened anyway.
Okay.
So it's not going to change whether or not it's actually true. So he's saying, all right. So what we're going to do next, after this interview, is probably send you on your way. As long as you allow us to retrieve the door frame.
Of course.
From the horse.
Of course.
Okay. Okay. He's looking at his notes that he had a stack of notes that he brought with him. And he's sort of flipping through page after page. He says, seems pretty accurate to what Creo told me. So I'll have to let you go. Do you want to be sent anywhere in particular? Would you like to be accompanied by your newfound friend?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll allow you both to discuss that.
Okay.
And he leads you out of the room, and a few minutes later, Cryo is let out of the room.
Cryo after our meeting, so can we stay here for the night?
If you wish, there are lodgings here.
Yeah.
It is a library, but there are people who stay here for days researching a particular topic. So you are allowed to stay here in our guest quarters.
Okay. That way I can get my spell slots back in case we're delivering the horses.
Okay. Yes, that would be quite arduous, I would say. But Yeah, I guess, do you have anywhere you want to be sent in particular? Or do you want to speak with your newfound companion before...
I think we have to deliver the horses first. We only rented them.
Okay, I'll let you speak with your friend then. And if you don't mind, he sort of motions for you to exit the room.
Yeah, sure.
Alright. So, Manny, you've been sitting here for about 2 minutes before they exit the room. And you two are together now, and they both sort of bow towards you and say, Creo says, "Thank you for your assistance. If you have any further things you would like to do for us, we are always looking for people who are willing to seek out information."
Do you have any assignments right now?
Let's see. And he sort of places his hand on one of the bookshelves, and a large book comes through the air into his hands from another bookshelf. And he sort of opens it, and he says, "Completed, ongoing. There is an assignment. Do you have anywhere in particular you would like to go?"
Somewhere cold.
You mean like the elemental clash? Possibly?
The air and water one, yeah.
Yes, the one that was directly north of where you guys were.
Also, where are we right now? Where is this tower?
Right now, it's not a tower, but it is a library of sorts. This particular branch is on the floating island of the cloud-filled train.
Oh,
He nods towards you.
so yeah, what do you want to do, Mantis?
Let's deliver the horses. You really want to deliver the horses back?
Shouldn't we? We said we'll come back with them.
You're right, we should. But is it a smart idea? Probably not.
All right,
So,
well,
I mean, we haven't done anything wrong.
true, we haven't done anything wrong. But they think we've done something wrong.
and Creo is kind of agitated as you say that, and he says, "Yes, we could subtract from your payment. I assume that they're going to put bounty hunters out on you."
Or we could just tell the bards to send word that the horses will be there at a specific time, and then we poof the horses over there.
Yes, we could do that. But what I was referring to was the town may have put a bounty out on you. We could subtract from your payment to just pay the bounty outright if there is one. We could search to see if there is one.
Okay.
Sure.
The gnome sort of puts his hand on the bookshelf, and then a page comes through the air, and he looks at it and he says, "Yep, you have a bounty out on you." And he sort of turns the page, and there's a pretty decently done drawing of both of you in it, and it says wanted for crimes against the town. I currently forgot to name it. And it says 15 counts of slaughter is what it's legally termed as in this. And escaping arrest.
What's the total bounty?
The total bounty is you wouldn't believe this based on what your village's total is, but it's actually 10,000 gold per head. So probably this village isn't the one who's going to put out the bounty on this.
We don't have 10,000 gold.
20,000. 10 for
Oh.
each of us.
We could try to arrange for a cheaper payment if you are willing to work on behalf of us.
Sure.
Okay, so you would be, I don't like to use this word, but slightly indentured to us for a little while.
Okay.
So basically you would be doing stuff for us for a little while. And you basically have to do whatever it is we want you to do. But if you're willing to choose one of our current missions for gathering information, we will allow you to choose where you go. So it won't be too restricting, I guess, but you will be having to do something for us. So it's up to you.
What's it gonna be, Mantis? Finding information or killing bounty hunters?
I think finding information would be a good idea.
Sure.
Okay. So, and he sort of motions in the air, and then some two pieces of metal come through the air attached to round things that go around a neck, possibly. And he says, "You are hereby agents of the chroniclers," and he puts them around your neck. "You hereby have our permission to go wherever it is you need to go, and you can basically request interviews with anybody you wish just by flashing this.
Can I use the teleporting?
Yes, you will be able to use the teleportation devices that are within our hallowed halls, and within anywhere where they end up, where they end, you can use those as well."
And is the fire really necessary to teleport?
Yes, it's the only way that the circles activate, unfortunately.
Huh. As
You
long as
want me to-
it's done safely.
Creo, do you want me to cradle you as we go through these?
Maybe.
Alright, do you actually intend on going back to the village to return the horses?
Not at this point.
No.
We could send someone in your stead. You are one of our agents, after all.
Yeah, sure.
Do you wish to send that man a note?
Sure. Here's your horses intact and
Alright.
timely.
Alright.
From your friends.
Alright. I'll keep that in mind. Anything else you would like in the note?
No.
Well, I know I am going to add something to it. Thank you for our lives, possibly.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
But I'll take the liberty of putting that in myself. So, and he sort of takes out a paper and he quickly jots down everything that you guys said.
Mhm.
And he just sort of says, he just sort of motions to somebody who's just lolling about, not really doing anything. And he just sort of passes them the page, and he says, "Send this to the bard in the village that I just returned from." And the guy takes the note and nods. And he says, "Also, get somebody into the teleportation room. We do have an artifact that needs recovering. And we do need to return these horses to that village as well. If you would do that for me, thank you very much." And the guy just sort of nods and scuttles off. So, anywhere in particular that you want to take a mission on? Unfortunately, indentured servitude means that you would have to take one immediately.
Yeah.
Just a heads
I mean,
up,
I said what I preferred, but you can go ahead and prefer something.
just heads up, I only have a half hour left.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, it'll be done in a little bit. So,
Is there like
So-
a board we can get stuff from?
and he sort of just passes you the book that he has in his hand of current information bounties. It's basically mysteries that are currently unsolved, and they want you to figure out what's causing the resulting mystery. So there's a bunch of mysteries. There's bunches all over the world. So any particular place that you want your character to end up. In case we don't play again. I'll bring up the map. Just
Okay,
so you
thank
can have a look at it.
Yeah. And for my choice, it's the Raw Elemental Clash Golden Air.
Alright. Do. A particular place that seems interesting to you. You can always just go with him if you want to have somebody to accompany you. So if you have no idea where you might want to go, you can just
Where's
default off with him.
Lacardia?
The party?
Lacardia.
Top
Lacardia.
left.
Yeah, up here.
Oh, I see it now.
Sorry, this stupid thing is in the way. I don't know how to get rid of it. There we go. Yeah, it's up here. That's where you got that paper
Where's
from.
where you're going?
Top right.
He's
the
going
Raw
right
Elemental
here.
Clash. Yeah.
Sure, let's go.
Alright. So he says, so you will be sharing an assignment, huh?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. It is a bit dangerous there, so I don't blame you for wanting to go together. And he sort of takes the book from you. It was floating in front of you, because you can't hold it technically. But this library seems to have magic in it that's beyond most reasonable areas, but it was just sort of floating in front of you when you were having a look. And yes, there is a current mystery that's happening there that is has been ongoing for quite a long time. Apparently, this mission has been in there for in this particular edition of their book. It's been in there for 20 years. And there's been editions before that. It sort of mentions in the bounty for it that it's been in a bunch of previous editions. And it's why there are elementals in that area, why they're being constantly created, and why they are being constantly created underneath the opposing element of them, and they usually end up dying. They're not sure why that's happening, and it's happening in all the elemental clashes. So they want to find out why that's happening. So since he chose that one, it's all happening in each of the areas. but he chose one in particular to have a look at. So you guys are heading there. So he says, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead. You will have to wait about half an hour, maybe, before we can move those horses out of there.
I will have to sleep. I haven't done a rest yet.
That's right. I forgot about that. You guys can have a rest, and by then the horses will be taken back. So do not worry about that. We will cover you, since you are under our indentured servitude. We will take care of you. If you run into any trouble with any locals in any location, just let us know. We will work to make sure that you have access to the information that you need. Though that particular location doesn't tend to have many people living there, but if you do run into some people that you are having problems with, just let us know. We will try to use our way to push anybody out of the way who's attempting to block you from your investigations. So please, welcome to the Chronicler's library. You can do whatever it is you wish until you head out, but we will ask that you head out within the next 24 hours due to your bounty that we are taking care of.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So in the morning.
Sure thing. If you can just ask anybody around here if you don't know where something is. Go ahead and just have fun.
Cool. I go to my room.
All right. And if you both go to your rooms, there's just it's basically like there's a spiral staircase that goes up to an upper floor, and then there's more library there, and there's a side doors on the upper floor that lead to various rooms, and he has taken the liberty of marking, just magically marking one of the rooms for you, so it has your names on it, and you guys can just go in there and rest.
Cool.
It's a private room, just 2 beds in it, and some other stuff like a dresser and that sort of thing. And there is changes of clothes in there if you want to wear clothes that are official for this place. And they are suited to each of your races. So there is some clothes there that are sort of like, they have the circle with the book in the middle, the open book. And if you want to wear those, then you can sort of look like him if you want to. But it's up to you. You can keep the clothes that you want. You already have, but you're a man-tie, so you probably don't even have clothes. So you can wear them if you want, but you don't have to.
Yeah, totally wear them.
Yeah, and there's even an unseen servant that's in the closet that helps you put it on because you don't have hands. So.
I'll wear them too, but after a while they start freezing stuck to me.
Fair enough, that's fine. So you guys take your long rest. This place is, by its nature, safe for you to rest in. So there's no reason to have watches or anything.
I'll take the first watch.
You don't have to do that, but if you want to, you can.
I take no watches.
Yeah, so you can just sleep your 8 hours away.
1 point of exhaustion for me.
No, you're good. No exhaustion. So you guys rest up. It's morning. Anything you want to do in the library before leaving?
I want to go outside.
You want to leave the library?
Yeah.
Okay. So Manny, your companion, says that he wants to leave the library for a little bit. Is there anything that you want to do?
Eat.
Eat? Yeah, there's
Eat.
food there. And it's cooked, which normally you wouldn't be able to do. So it's a nice treat for you. And
Eat all the foods.
It's nice and mushed up for you, so that way you don't have to chew it. And it's cooked to perfection, and it's really good food. It's high quality.
Easy for the mandibles to eat.
Yes.
Eat.
Yep, you can do that. So when you walk outside, you are on a cloud, actually. It's a building built on a cloud that actually has the ability to lift it up, the building. And it's quite a large building. It's sort of set up like a tiered building. Like there's a bottom tier that's a lot larger, and then there's an upper tier that is a bit smaller, and then there's 2 more tiers that you guys haven't had access to yet that are higher up. And each one being a bit smaller of a square than the last. And you can look up at the building, and there's like birds of some sort flying, and some sort of creatures that look similar to birds flying through the air. You even notice a dragon as you walk out that's flying in the distance quite far away. It's actually a black dragon, so it could be a big deal, but it seems like it's staying quite far away. So you're looking down over this cloud. It's a cloud that's about as big as the base of the building, and there's a stairway.
Can I walk on the cloud?
Yes, you can walk on the cloud.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
Yes, these are clouds that are in the cloud filled terrain, which is why it's called that. There's actually clouds that you can walk on, that sort of thing. And there's a staircase that goes down to the actual island that this place is built above.
Yeah. I just explore for a little while and then head back.
Alright, so there's going to be guards at the bottom of the staircase, so if you try to leave, they see that you have the medallion of an indentured servant, so they're not going to let you just walk away.
Oh.
You can explore the little cloud area that you're on at the moment.
Yeah.
And have a look around.
I will do that.
And you're noticing that the particles that this cloud is made up of, as you're in proximity to it, you're sort of got ice all over you, so it sort of solidifies a little bit and falls down, but then it turns back to the cloud-like substance, and it keeps going up and down around you.
Yeah.
Kind of. So you can have a look around. There's a bunch of flying things that are flying around nearby, so have a look at those. So Manny, he's still having a look around after you finish eating, so anything in particular that you want to do?
Not just absorb anything that I can find about the cold air place, or the air, whatever.
The raw elemental clash of cold and air.
See.
All right, so you grab a book, and seems like there's a reason why this is one of the things that you're going out for. There's a very small book on it, and it just gives you basic information that it's raw elements clashing into each other constantly, and there's pools of ice and water that create elementals, and then there's in the air above the pools of water and ice, there's air elementals and the magic that is required to create air elementals.
Mm-hmm.
And there are water elementals that are being summoned in the air, too high for them to survive the fall. So then when the water elementals fall, they hit the ground and die. and the air elementals are summoned beneath the water, and they drown. And you're not sure why this is. This is the reason why. This is a big mystery as to why you guys are going there to try to see if you can figure out what's going on.
Okay.
So yeah, it gives you that basic information. Let's see. Yeah, it gives you a little bit of information about the encompassing cold, which is near where the Ukarid is, which is a rainforest. And that's another magical phenomena that's a mystery that you guys could look into while you're there to earn yourself some extra points with the club, so to speak. And the wood-buffeted crags is nearby, which is it's just basically a wasteland that has constant blowing winds that blow away any plants and blow away any animals that tend to live there, but some of them are able to live there relatively well. And it's just constant wind blowing in that area. Which is why they're called the wind-buffeted crags, because they're being buffeted constantly. And the Aquan Sea is nearby, which is the Aquan Sea. It's just water, an ocean, a large ocean, basically. And the wooded layer is to the south, and it seems like there's a definite line between where the forest starts to be able to crop up based on where the cold ice and water is. So you have all of that.
Okay. It'd be fun times.
So I'll say that Cryo comes back in and sees that you are reading a book. You guys can interact now, if you wish.
Hey.
Hey.
What'd you find out?
I found out we're on a cloud, like they said.
That we're hanging on a cloud?
Yeah.
Oh, that we're hanging on a cloud. Okay, well, I found out some stuff about where we're going.
Yeah, I found out some stuff. There are some portals to the water elemental plane there, among other things.
So I'm assuming we just confirm each other's information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tells you some of the stuff that I told him before, and you tell him some of the stuff that I just told you. So there are portals there that have been marked, and actually part of the description of this thing was that perhaps there's something wonky going around with those portals. That might be one lead that you can try to investigate. So you might end up going to different planes of existence in this investigation.
Okay.
So are you both ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, so you head back to the portal. You actually notice that near the teleportation ring, there's a guy who, he's in the room, and he's currently sweeping something up, and the room smells awful.
Oh, horse poop.
Yeah.
I prestidigitation.
Yeah, you take away the smell, and he's like, he looks up at you and he says, "Oh, thank you. That really was an insufferable job until you came in just now. So,
No
yeah,
problem.
thanks. Yeah, somebody brought some horses through here. It's not a usual thing, but well managed, I guess.
So
You
Yeah,
two
we
heading
did
out?
that. Yeah, we're heading out too.
Okay, so you guys were the ones who did that?
No,
Yes.
I didn't take a shit on the floor.
That isn't what he asked, but yes. Okay. He takes it in stride and he says, "Well, yeah, I assumed as much, but did you bring the horses here?"
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they brought a decently new artifact. Still looking into it, but he sort of shrugs. I don't know much about it. Anyway, I'm just sort of a janitor here, so you guys want to use this?
Yeah.
All right.
You know how? I didn't know how.
You light the torches, and then you think of where you want to go, and then it brings you to the nearest teleporter station.
Does it have to be a place we know?
As long as you've seen it on a map,
Okay.
you probably find it. And on the map, it actually did indicate where the nearest teleporting station is, which is on the corner over here, somewhere in this vicinity over here.
Yeah.
So it's over there. It's being, according to the book that Cryo was looking at, it's protected from the elements somehow. So you're not sure what you're going to see when you get there.
Okay.
So he says, I'll get out of your way. You just need to light the torches. Do you have any magic that relates to fire?
No.
Oh. I'll be back in a minute. And he sort of finishes sweeping it up into this little pail that he's got with him, and he picks up the pail and he takes it out of the room. And he comes back and he has a mechanical lighter. In this world, the mechanical lighters look like a barbecue lighter sort of thing, except they have random cogs and things in it that you're not sure what they do. But you pull the trigger and it makes a bit of fire come out. It's just, here.
Yeah, I immediately shut down the fire.
Yeah, the fire's it's not lit or anything.
Okay.
You have to click the trigger to light it.
Yeah. I thought it was showing us how he used it.
No, he was just saying, here you go. He expects that you know how to use it, which you do.
Yeah.
He says, here, just make sure to put it back when you come back.
Yeah.
He nods to you and he says, happy travels, I guess. And he sort of looks and sees that your medallions indicate that you're indentured servants. And he says, if you can enjoy it, just do your best. And he just sort of pats you on the shoulder. And you look at him and he has one of those medallions as well.
Oh.
So he's indentured to this place as well. So he says, I'll get out of your way. And he just sort of leaves the room. So you guys, at any point, you can light the
Yeah, so I'm just standing there.
Alright, Manny, you see him sort of just standing there with this thing in his hands.
I take it from him as best I can.
You actually do have mandibles that you can use to pull the trigger with. So if you hold it in your mouth, you might be able to use it.
Okay. All right. I use my mandibles and open it, or pull it.
Yeah. So it's got a little trigger on it. It works like a barbecue lighter, basically. And you just pull the trigger, and a little flame pops out the end. And you just go around and light all the things, unless if he stops you.
Yeah, I'm assuming he won't.
No.
Alright, so you just light all the things, and you do kind of like what your friend did there. I already forgot his name. Creo. That's it. Creo did. You sort of stand in the middle of the circle when you light the last one, and then you rush into the middle. And then it pops you out, and you are in a room that is made of stacked stones like the other one that you were in before.
Okay.
I find the exit.
Yeah,
Alright,
we
so
go
you
out.
go towards the exit. There is a door there. That's a metal door, just like the other room that you came from in the wooded lair. And you sort of just open the door, and you walk through, and you are underground.
Underground.
Okay.
And that's where we're going to leave this one for now.
Okay.
You are in the raw elemental clash of cold and air. It's just that they built this thing underground so that way it wouldn't get destroyed by the elements clashing all the time. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, so they built an underground bunker for it. So we'll stop it right there, and if you guys ever go to that area, I'm gonna say that the shadow comes around while you guys are investigating that area. So you could be either on a different plane and stranded, or you can be in that area, just trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we pick, or is it just either?
I'll let you guys pick because it's basically random, whether your investigations brought you to another plane or not. But if you,
Stranded?
I'll say before, the shadow disabled most of the portals, so you guys would be pretty much stranded on the other plane if you chose to do that.
Not stranded.
Alright, so you guys are in the raw elemental clash at the moment.
Yeah.
And when the shadow passed over, I'll say that you guys are just as confused as anybody as to what happened. And you're sort of trying to figure out what's going on in the elemental clash. You're also trying to maybe figure out what's going on with the encompassing cold, and why the Ukrid is able to grow there. And possibly the shadow. You're still trying to figure out like the ins and outs of the shadow, so that way you can try to work off your servitude more quickly, basically. Because you're not sure if the world ended or not, because you're stranded in an area where there's barely any people. So
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'll say that you guys are still trying to work off your servitude in that area.
Sounds like a plan.
Alright. So any last minute questions?
We're just going to go gather information, correct?
Yep, your characters are just going to try to see if they can figure out what's going on in that area.
Okay. Don't think I do.
And perhaps they will have information if you try to go to that area as your other characters,
Okay.
for whatever reason. So you might encounter them later on. Actually, one of Ben's side characters from one of the side stories you guys actually have encountered already. So
Oh, which Ben?
this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The barkeep in the one who was the half orc
Okay.
that was in the ill octopus, I think it was called.
Cool. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, so that was one of his characters. He actually gave me some input on how to play him, so I'll notify you guys if you're heading in that area that I'll give you a little bit of information of what they were doing, and basically I'll say that I'm playing them and they'll have to basically gain the they'll share information if that's what they would do, that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
All right, cool.
all right.
All right. I'm out, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
See ya.
See ya.